All right, welcome everybody to the Southgate Parks and Rec Commission meeting, regular agenda meeting, May 14th, 2026, 7 p.m. First, we're going to start with our flag salute. Can I get Commissioner Trujillo to lead us, please? Okay, thank you, Commissioner Trujillo. So now we'll have a roll call, please.
Chair Flores,
Present.
Vice Chair Reese,
Present.
Secretary Esquivel,
Present.
Commissioner Pelayo, Commissioner Trujillo,
Present.
Meeting compensation.
Pursuant to Government Code Pursuant to Government Code Section 54952 compensation for monthly attendance by the Parks and Recreation Commissioners is $75 per monthly meeting. I, Noemi Aguilera, Secretary for the Parks and Recreation Department, certify that a true and correct copy of the foregoing meeting agenda was properly posted on May 7, 2026 at 5:30 p.m. as required by law.
Just let the record show that Commissioner Pelayo just arrived at 7:01 p.m.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, we're going to open up to public comment. We'll start with our chamber. Please make sure you state your name.
Chingus Dominguez, resident of Southgate. So I really don't have anything in particular. I'm just going to wing it. So we had our city council meeting this past Tuesday. And so the council members voted to bring back Zoom. What I find so disappointing, the lackluster response from the council members. I mean, they really were, they showed tremendous reluctance in choosing Zoom. And I don't know if it was like they didn't want to upset or irritate or bother the city manager or cross him. It's like, this system, the city manager, he isn't going to use it. The director of administrative services isn't going to use it. Who's this for? It's for us, the people, the public, so that, we can make use of it. And what I find just so disappointing about Tuesday's meeting was that even this, they weren't willing to fight for us and to assert themselves and stand up for us and say, you know what, let's give this for the people, because they have this knowledge, they have this familiarity with this piece of technology. Let's give this to them. I mean, it was just so pitiful to see, because I went to watch it on YouTube and I was like, my gosh, look at this. Even this, they can't even show any enthusiasm. And even the old monkey, what he says, well, I'm just going to go with, the majority's opinion here. I could go either way. And then even Davila, she said, oh, well, it's really whatever the council decides and, whatever the direction they want to go with. I mean, I just found it so disappointing. And the thing I want to say to the commissioners and the folks at home watching, when I send out emails to folks asking for their help with city matters and trying to get stuff done here, I can't do this by myself. I need your help, folks. And I want to thank the vice chair, Ruiz, because she's the one, the one person consistently throughout this whole endeavor and trying to bring back Zoom. And last year was the call-in feature, which failed. She was the one person, every time I asked for help and support and to do a public comment or submit in a public comment email, she was the one consistently always there. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate Commissioner Trujillo for being there and advocating for this. And the last thing I want to hit on is Councilmember Avalos. I was very disappointed with her wanting to remove Commissioner Trujillo. And she said, well, it's time for someone new to give them a chance. It's like, well, I'd like to know, Commissioner Trujillo, how long have you been on the position of a commissioner, park and rec commissioner? Because less than a year or about a year? I mean, you haven't had enough time to even have the position for her to want to remove you. So I just found that very off-putting, and all in with that.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Do we have any online public comments?
No, no comments.
Okay, so if there's no other public comments, we'll close public comments at this time. Okay, open session items, oral report on commission governance and procedural recommendation requirements.
So good evening, Parks and Rec Commission. We have our city attorney, Mr. Raul Salinas, who's going to give a presentation today on the commission governance and the procedural requirements.
Hi, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. I think this is my first time I've actually had a chance to, been invited to come in and address you. Normally I'm on that side of the railing, so this is foreign territory for me to be on this side of the dais and speaking to you. I've been asked by Tina to come in and give a presentation on relevant portions of the Brown Act. So in my presentation today, I haven't gone into portions of the Brown Act that would relate to the city council, things like when we go into closed session, what the basis is for the closed session requirements, because this commission does not use that portion of the Brown Act for closed session discussions. So I've tried to narrow my presentation, my remarks to you today to some basic fundamentals. My goal is to go through the slide presentation, and then after that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have here. But the real walkway, and there's some walkways there, are just to try to make sure that we're following the Brown Act and that, you know, as the culture of this commission, that we're staying consistent so that as future iterations come in, new appointees are made to this commission on a regular basis, then we're following the same format generation after generation. So I could get help changing the PowerPoint slide. I thought I'd go out and just start out with what is the purpose of the Brown Act. I'm not going to read it here, but the Brown Act really is intended to allow for transparency. It's intended to allow the public to see the decisions that are made, how they're made, to allow the public to comment on those decisions before they are made, and then to just bring some degree of accountability there. And I appreciate the opening and allowance for people to come in and make public comments here. There's the ability to make comments that are on the agenda. There's also the ability to make comments that are not on the agenda. So it's always important to tell the public, you know, what portion of that public comment are we talking about here. Let's go to the next slide, please. I also thought it would be important to go through the power and the scope of this commission, just so that we're all on the same page here. And I turned to section 109.890 of the Southgate Municipal Code. I'm telling you something that you already know, but I thought it would be good to have a common base here. The role of this commission is to generally work in connection with the Park and Recreation Administrator, who is Ms. De La Rosa, to study and plan play and recreational activities within the city, to figure out and devise methods on how to utilize recreational facilities here within the city, and all of it to do it within the scope and the authority of this commission. And that's found under section 109.09B, where it says that the city council determines that said commission, when he created it, is really intended to be an advisory or recommending body, and to make recommendations as appropriate to the city council as they relate to public recreational areas and those facilities. Next slide, please. So this is really an advisory body, and it also has some authority to work and develop regulations in the park arena, again, in collaboration with the Park and Rec Director. I think you know that. I just thought I would restate that. What is this? What is it that the Brown Act really seeks to accomplish? The next slide. One of the primary reasons is to allow for the public to participate. The city itself does better when the public participates, when there's civic participation, whether it's good comments in terms of supporting comments, or there's comments that are negative toward this body or towards the city council. They all play a role in public participation. City Council and each of the commissions should hear from the public on that. How does it achieve its purpose? Next slide. It does that by requiring that these actions be taken publicly. So if you're going to, in the case of the City Council, approve a contract, you got to do that publicly. If you're going to receive and file a report about a particular activity within the city, that has to be done on a public basis. Here within the commission, as you study and you take a look at some of the activities that come before you in the agenda and you vote on those things, those have to be done in the public. And for us to do that, we have to post the agenda. We have to do it 72 hours ahead of time. It gives the public the opportunity to know what it is that this commission is going to be talking about when the commission comes together. And so there's uniformity there. And again, what are the key concepts? Next slide. The key concepts are uniformity. These meetings, as well as the city council meetings, they should be run in the same format time and time again. And we'll get into that format in just a little bit. So let's go to the next slide here. So as I keep saying, this is all about uniformity. We have to be uniform in terms of how we conduct the meetings. We have to be uniform in terms of how we allow for public comment. We have to be uniform in terms of how we allow for access. And we have to be uniform in terms of how we enforce our meetings and the way in which we allow the public to comment. And once we break away from that uniformity, that's where we get into problems. And we get into problems because the public then doesn't know how these meetings are intended to run. So hypothetically, you take up agenda item number 1. On your agenda, you open it up to, you get a presentation from the staff, you open it up to the public to comment. Public members A, B, and C make their statement. The matter then gets closed for public comment at that point. It goes back to you. You have a deliberation. Somebody makes a motion, somebody seconds it, and then the commission takes a vote on that agenda item, and then you go on to the next agenda item. Public members A, B, and C that spoke on agenda item number 1 may decide, okay, well, I'm done for the night. I spoke on what I want to speak with. I'm gone. And then you have someone that comes back late after you've already discussed agenda item number 1, and they were late. They didn't get here on time, but they want to speak about agenda item number 1. Can you allow that? No, because you already provided an opportunity for the public to comment, and you have to be rigid about that. The whole concept, the policy behind public comment is that we are in what they call a limited forum. So when you allow for public comment, it has to relate to the agenda item that is before you. And in general, it has to relate to the scope of why you're here. So if someone wanted to come in and spend 3 minutes talking about Iran, they're not allowed to do that. It's not related to the scope of what you're doing. Someone wants to come in here and talk about Zoom, as they did at the very beginning, that arguably relates to how you conduct your meetings, that you can find a link there. My preference is always to look for a way to allow for that public comment to come before, in my case, the city council. And I listen, and I try to ask myself, is there a potential nexus between what this speaker is doing? And sometimes, it looks like the speaker is going off on a tangent, and then they bring it back in, and it gets to the point that they wanted to make that does relate to an item of business before the city council, or in this case, before the Park and Rec Commission. So it's important to do that. The role of the chair has a tremendous amount of responsibility here. It's the chair's responsibility, along with Tina's, to make sure that the public that comes in and speaks, ties their comment to something that is pending or related to the scope of the work of the Park and Rec Commission. It's a very broad standard, admittedly, and I would encourage you to allow most people to speak, but you're able to tell if someone is talking about something that is unrelated to what you do. Then you have to say, can you please bring it back to what we're here to talk about, Park and Rec Commission. Also, if they're trying to talk about something that's already been discussed on a that evening on a different agenda, you got to stop them. You got to say that item has already been discussed. We moved on. You're allowed 3 minutes, but that item has already been discussed. If you'd like to discuss something else, we're happy to entertain your discussion, but we can't allow you the opportunity to come back and speak on a matter that has already been discussed. Again, you got to think about the potential for those folks that were here before and left, spoke while the agenda item was discussed, and are no longer present. It's not fair to them, and it creates this disuniformity, and it doesn't allow the public to feel like, okay, I understood how these meetings are run. I left, and when I left, they had already decided this. You don't want to have these after the fact conversations. They're very important. Uniformity, one of the walkways here has to be uniformity. Let's move on to this next slide here. I call it the no secret sauce. We post these agendas 72 hours ahead of time. What comes before you that requires action on your part has to be on the agenda. You have to allow the public to discuss it during the time that it comes before you. Agenda item number 1, presentation by staff, open up to the public, and public comment, allow for deliberation, and then take a vote on that. And the vote, as we all know, has to be made in public. All right. So let's go to the next slide, please. I think you all know this. We call meetings, regular meetings, special meetings, emergency meetings. A regular meeting is when this commission meets on a regular basis. But there may be times when the commission has to meet on times that are otherwise called on a non-regular basis. And you can call those on 24 hours notice. We call those special meetings. They're much more rigid in what they do. I don't know that this commission has ever called for a special meeting, but there may be those occasions there. And just so you know that the law differentiates between a regular meeting with 72 hours notice. There's more opportunity for the public to know what's on those 72-hour notice meetings. We allow during those regular meetings the public to come in and speak on non-agenda items. When it comes to a special meeting, you're not allowed to have the public speak on anything other than what's on the agenda. So there is no room during those special meetings for the public to come in and speak on something other than what's on the agenda. Why is that? It's simple, because we only gave the public 24 hours notice, right? And so if we're giving them only 24 hours notice minimum, then we should restrict exactly what it is that we're conducting business on and only allow public comment on those items. The emergency meeting is really more for the city council there. Okay, I talked about, next slide, I talked about this already, the agenda versus non-agenda items. The comments on agenda items should stay on topic, broad standard there, but I would encourage the chair of this commission, along with Tina, to make sure that we're staying on topic here. Sometimes the public doesn't know what agenda item we're talking about, and they just want to come in. They're new to the process. They have something they want to say. And I think you guys already know it's easier just to politely say to them, we're not on that topic yet. We'll give you the heads up and let you come in and speak when that happens. Non-agenda items, they can talk about anything, but you got to find a way for it to be a part of what the business is of this commission. All right. I put this on here not only because there are times in which you might find yourself with someone that is attempting to disrupt the meeting. We had, for example, about 2 years ago, we had what they call the First Amendment folks that come in with cameras, and they will videotape this. They will try to videotape, and they did in that city council meeting, videotape members of the public. They ridicule those people. And we learned a lot from that one time. It only happened once. But if that were to happen here again, what should you do? You should warn that person or people that you're finding them to be disruptive. And that if they attempt to disrupt the meeting again, that you're going to give them one more warning. And on the third warning, you're going to ask for them to be escorted out. And you'll call law enforcement here. You'll take a break. You'll wait for the room to be cleared of those disruptors. And then you come back in and continue your meeting. That's an extreme example. I think in the 23 years I've served as a city attorney here, I recall only one instance in which that occurred. So it's not a rarity. And in this city, it's not something that is likely to happen. It's more likely to happen in the larger cities, City of Los Angeles, County of Los Angeles, where you have a much more, a different caliber of residents than what we have here in Southgate. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Next one. There we go, the one with the mic. Public comment. I talked about this already. And here's the recommendation I would have, and I'd ask the chair and the commission to consider this is, allow for the agenda item to be read out. That's standard. Allow for a brief presentation by staff about what this agenda item is. Open the item up for the public to comment on that, including comments or emails that may have been received on this item by the commission secretary, have those read out. Then you want to make sure that you close a comment. And when you close a comment, you close a comment there. And then after that, I would encourage you to, ask for reactions from the commission on that. And then after that, once you've heard from most of the commission members that want to speak on this, then I would ask the chair to, say what's the wish of the commission and call for a vote at that time, and then do a roll call vote. Make sure that you have a second there. I think that's the way to do that. I haven't tracked what you do, but is that pretty much how it's done right now? Perfect, great. So, and the Robert's Rules of Orders, next slide, they also contemplate this, a motion, a second, a deliberation, and a vote. Where we get into some degree of confusion with Robert's Rules of Orders is, next slide, is when the motion is made too early. So staff report concludes, public comment concludes, goes back to the commission, and someone says, hey, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda item. And then before there's a second, someone would say, well, I have a question about this. Well, if you're following Robert's rules, you really need to see if there's a second to that motion, because Robert's rules say, all deliberation stops when somebody makes a motion. I think the better approach is to avoid making that motion too early. Allow for your colleagues on the bench here to ask any questions, and then have the chair be the one to say, well, what's the wish of this commission? And then someone can make the motion at that point in time. That gets you away from having to follow these other rules about amended motions and substitute motions. It really is something that I try to avoid during the city council meetings. All right. We do have, next slide, we do have an opportunity for the commissioners to come in and talk about things they do in their official capacity as a commissioner. So if you go to an official function during this section of the agenda, you can come in and talk. I went to the Veterans Memorial. I went to the celebration at the parks. I attended this event. I attended that event in my official capacity as a member of this commission. It is not intended during this part of the agenda to open it up to anything you want to talk about. It is not a free-for-all. It is really there to, and the thought behind these reports is to allow the commissioners and the public to know what you're doing in your official capacity when you go to these events. And I would say that we struggle with that at the city council level. We tend to veer from that, but it's really intended just to be saying, here's the event, here's the thing I did as a member of the Park Commission. I went to the JA opening, I attended that, here's a report, here's my reaction, and that's it. And then it just goes across the aisle there. All right, enough on the 1, 2, 3 reports. As you know, state law is going to have us return to Zoom in the case of the city. We're still working on this. Once the city figures out all those bugs before July 1, those mechanisms will be applicable to the commission here, and more to come on that. Next slide. All right, here are my key takeaways. This is my last slide here, and then I can open up for questions. Process matters, so make sure that you are following the uniform procedures meeting after meeting after meeting. Make sure that you follow the agenda, allow for public comment before a vote is taken. Once the public comment has ended, restrict further comments on that from the public, because if you don't do that, we run into potential First Amendment issues. People will accuse the city of being selective because they want to hear an additional perspective from someone who they think is going to be in support of something or against something. So we have to be very neutral there. Once a public comment ends, it's like the red light at an intersection. You stop. And you have to stop the public comment there. And I think, and only the matters that pertain to the commission are matters that should be discussed in that respect. And I think that, the other thing I would say is I sit on a number of boards. So over the years, my involvement has been in a number of community nonprofit organizations. It continues to this day. I've seen a number of different governance models here. And I know that this commission will rotate who's going to be the chair. I would always say that the chair has the chairperson's prerogative here to control the length of the discussion here, right? You want to make sure that you are respectful for everyone, but you also want to make sure that, you run efficient meetings. And so the chairman's prerogative, I've seen this done over and over again, is to say, okay, I'm going to allow for a little more comment on this. Make sure, please be mindful, because we want to make sure everyone has the opportunity to express their views here. And then I'm going to ask for a vote after we hear from these comments. And so you have the ability as the chairperson, any one of you who might sit in that seat, to use the chairman's prerogative to help facilitate the moving forward of these agenda items here. All right, so let me stop with that. And I hope I didn't go into too much detail, but that I gave you enough meat on the bone here. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Anybody want to start?
Yeah. Thank you for that presentation. I just had a question regarding the comment. Once the comment's made, right, and said it stops. Is that a hard and fast rule basically, and there's no exception to that, or is it, for example, the chairman's prerogative to open it back up to public comment, or is it something that commission itself can basically say we'd like to hear from some other resident or somebody else that has a comment to make? And do we have the discretion to open it back up?
You always have the discretion to open it back up, Commissioner. But I would encourage you that should be the rare exception for the reasons I discussed. If you just closed, it's really a question of reasonableness and judgment, right? So if you just close public comment and somebody comes running in on the door and enters and says, I'm here to talk about agenda item number 1, and you just closed it, there's no harm in reopening it for that person because the timing just occurred, right? But if you already started the deliberations here on this item, and you want to go out and you want to say, hey, I see that, Joe Smith is in the audience. I'd like to get Joe Smith's comments on this. You're really opening it up to the public. There's nothing wrong with you if Joe Smith spoke and you say, Mr. Smith, can I just ask a few questions of you? Would you mind coming back up and addressing those? That's not reopening public comment. You can do that, right? Because you're reacting to that one particular item. It informs you in your deliberations. It's out in the open. There's no harm there. I think the point I'm trying to make is once the deliberations have started in earnest and you're getting ready to make the motion or you already made the motion, then I think you just got to be strict and say public comment is ended, because people need to have some degree of understanding that public comment, when it's there, it ends, and we go forward with that. We allow public comment. We provide 3 minutes public comment. Other jurisdictions only provide for 20 minutes, right? So then they give you 1 minute to speak. And if there are 40 people, well, guess what? 20 of them are not going to speak in that 20-minute session. right? We don't do that. We allow for 3 minutes, up to 3 minutes, and then if there's 40 people there, we're going to have 40 speakers. We don't cut it off there, which I think is the right approach. It encourages civic participation, but you have to be mindful that you have to be consistent in how you treat the public comment period. All right. Yes.
Thank you for that.
Just out of curiosity, I know you mentioned the time limit and it used to be 5, but I remember back in like 2000, I don't know if you were around that
I
time.
was not. Those are the dark days of the city.
But I
not there.
actually remember coming to council and seeing cards.
That's right.
And why was that discontinued?
Yes, great question. For transparency purposes, there are a lot of cities, Pasadena, Montebello, to name a couple. You want to speak, you got to turn in your card. But what happens if someone on the council sees that card and then rips it up? What do you do then? Right? How do you allow for that person to come and speak because there's not any evidence of that? And apparently, before my time, that was occurring.
Oh, wow.
And so the day one, after the city's historic recall election back in February 28th of 2003, and when the new council got reconstituted, one of the things they did away with was the use of those registered cards.
Got
It was a
it.
good thing.
Good to know. Thank you. And just to go back on his question, at least the way I saw it was related to an incident we had. I think it was last month when a couple of speakers came who missed the public comment portion and were adamant about, raising their concerns. And so personally, I was afraid to set the precedent, kind of like you said, that if we open up public comment again, it would kind of make it so for anybody thereafter. And I don't know if that was the right decision. I guess in retrospect, we could have brought it upon ourselves to, I guess the process is to make a vote or make a motion to vote and allow to have to open back public comment, considering there weren't any other members of the public. But what would you have recommended?
Well, I wasn't there, so it's always a question. I like public comment, period, right? And so I think on balance, if the commission feels that they got a fair representation of the differing views, pros and cons on whatever that item might be, then allowing these people to come in and speak is not really going to add to the discussion here. And I would not have allowed it if there were very few comments and the commission itself was sort of wavering back and forth. Then you could have a motion to reopen agenda item number 1. You could have a second on that. You could reopen public comment if you really thought it would make a distinction there. At the city council level, I am not recalling any instance other than maybe one in the thousands and thousands of agenda items that we discussed where that's ever been applied. And I couldn't even begin to tell you what the circumstances. It's a rare situation, but it does. If everybody else got to the commission meeting on time, they were there to give their comments. You have to be respectful of that. And you have to be respectful of the other people that have been waiting to be able to talk on the other agenda items. You just got to keep the business of the commission moving forward. And that's, I think, the balance that you have to play there. That's why it makes sense to not reopen a public comment item when you've already taken action and you've allowed enough time here. Because what do you do then, Commissioner Ruiz? If you open it up, then you close it, you hear from those people that arrive, and 2 more people come in. What do you do then? Right? It's a bad precedent. Yeah. Anybody else?
Understood.
Yes.
I have a question, more so in kind of what you said about continuing conversations. So, for example, let's say the renaming of the park, right? We discussed this as an item here, and then it moved on to city council, and then there was discussion items there. And then currently it's still kind of open, right? Because it's out to be renamed by the parks, but by the schools. But if someone were to come then here and say, hey, actually, I have an objection on that item. It's park related, but it's not on the agenda item. How should we navigate a situation like that?
Yeah, so let me make sure I understand the scenario here. So commission meeting, you have your agenda there. Person wants to come in and talk about the renaming of the parks, but the agenda doesn't list the renaming on, you don't have that as an agenda item.
And it's
for
a
that.
general comment portion of it.
Right, and so do you, Tina, we have both comments about agenda items and comments on non-agenda items, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you would want to direct that person to wait until you get to that part about non-agenda items. If they come in and then you've already discussed the non-agenda items and you're not allowed to let them speak.
And then I have one more. Can you elaborate a little bit more about the rules governing deliberation, right? I think I've heard comments from community members here and at council meetings that there's some sort of back room deliberation and just kind of be a little bit more expansive on kind of how those rules and how we're governed.
Yeah, they're called, so a meeting, the Brown Act defines a meeting. When you have a majority of the members of a body together in the same room. That's considered a meeting. And so when there's a meeting, three or more, in this case, three or more of you in a room together, you're not allowed among the three of you to talk about city business. You can't talk about park business. You can't say, hey, we got the renaming of the park coming up on our next commission meeting. What do you guys think about that? You cannot have that. That's a violation of the Brown Act. And we got to be clear about that. Now, there are times when all five of you may be in a room together. It could be a celebration. It could be because somebody from the park is retiring. And the Brown Act doesn't consider those necessarily as meetings or prohibiting you from getting together because you're there not for the purpose of talking about park commission items. You're there to celebrate that particular event, whatever that may be. Or you may be attending a class on continuing education. That's another exception there. Or you may be attending an event outside the city's boundaries in honor of a retiring police officer, or unfortunately in the case of an officer who may have been killed in action. Whatever that may be, those meetings are not there. So rule number one, if three of you or more are in the room, can't talk about commission business. Now, if two of you talk about it, and you say, hey, it's just two of you, what do you guys think about the renaming of the park? Can either one of you go and talk to a third person about it? No, under the Brown Act. Why? That's called a serial meeting, right? So now you already know Mr. Trujillo or Mr. Pelayo is going to, what he thinks about that. Now you're going to go to Ms. Ruiz or Mr. Flores or Ms. Esquivel and ask them what that is. Guess what? You as a member of the commission now know how a majority of the vote is going to go on this thing. And what have you done? You've taken away the transparency that the public demands that this commission have. So that's not allowed in that case. That's called a serial meeting. Can you send a representative of yours to go meet with Ms. Ruiz for the purpose of finding out how she's going to vote on that and then report back to you? No, that's called a spoke. They call that a spoke in a wheel. You can't use, a metal piece to connect someone outside of your little orbit in order to get that information. So you're not allowed to do those kind of serial meetings. I will tell you that there are people that will come before the city council and say that there are backroom deals happening here. They're not. I've never been party to them. I wouldn't allow them. I'm very careful, even when we're in closed session, about making sure that we stick to what we say we're going to do. The council knows that, and that's a hallmark, in my view, of how this council may be different from some of the other cities that surround us. We don't do that. I've never been associated with that. I would never allow it, and I think the council understands that. If you've seen me in action here, you'll also see me interrupt the council folks when I think they're veering off and talking too much about an agenda, about an item that was discussed in public comment. So I think, again, the public needs to know that when they come in and they want to talk about non-agenda items, you're allowed to listen to them, but you cannot engage in those items in detail. And you have to cut that discussion off on that basis there. Does that answer your question? Okay. All right. Any other questions?
Yeah,
Oh.
I just have one question about
Yeah.
our personal livelihood or occupations. When it comes to deliberations or voting, is that covered under the Brown Act too? Or
It's
that's
covered,
different?
it's covered, yes and no. It's covered under a different body of law. It's covered under the FPPC.
Right, okay.
And it's also governed under the government code. So the basic rule is that if you live within 500 feet and you have a financial interest of this area, then you need to recuse yourself in general. All right. So my advice to the council is always take the high road. What are some of those rules there? They call this, one of the biggest exceptions to that rule is what they call the public general exception. I don't know why they call it that, but it basically means that if what you're voting on would impact you the same way that it impacts everyone else generally, you can still vote on it, even though it's going to impact you. I always think that's kind of, a gray area, and I don't like gray areas. So I would say
Right.
to you, if it's really close where you have some financial interest there, then stay away from that. You got to stay away from that. You can't be involved in influencing any contract in which you stand to have an influence there. We were able, during the dark days when I came on, we launched a number of claims against law firms, against contractors, against vendors, and we based it on that conflict of interest statute, Government Code 1090. Government Code 1090 says that if you are an elected official who is involved in the making, with the emphasis on the word making, if you are involved in the making of a contract and you have an influence, a financial interest in that, that contract is considered null and void from the beginning without regard to the benefit of the services that were provided. What does making mean in the context? The courts have defined that as meaning that if you introduced the vendor, even though you didn't vote on it, if you introduced the vendor to the city, if you were present here and the majority went with that vendor decision, and so your vote was inconsequential, it doesn't matter. As long as you played some role in influencing, participating, soliciting, introducing that vendor, and you have a financial interest in that, that contract is null and void. And we recovered over $15 million in cash from law firms, from vendors, even Tony Robbins Foundation. We got $50,000 out of them. And so one of the most powerful statutes there. And then what we did was we ended up realizing that there was just a 1-year statute of limitations. We went to Sacramento and we got that statute of limitations extended for 4 years from the day of discovery. So 8 years from now, this contract, this relationship was hidden for 8 years. We don't uncover it until 8 years, and we couldn't have uncovered it earlier. That claim is still alive, even though it's a very powerful statute. So FPPC regulates the conflict of interest statutes. There's some exceptions to that. And we don't have to get into those exceptions, but there are just a few handfuls of exceptions there.
Thank you.
It's like a bar exam question for me. Any
Yeah,
other
just-
questions?
Just one more question. So there was a slide there that addressed comments, for example, agenda items, non-agenda items, and then reports from commissioners. Can you maybe expand on that? And the agenda items, obviously, right? It's whatever's on the agenda, and we can speak to that. But reports from commissioners is one thing, and then non-agenda items and topics that are able to be discussed. Can you maybe elaborate on that?
Yeah, I can. So can I see the agenda? All right. So if you go to tonight's agenda and you take a look at what you have here, you have agenda items number 1 through 5. And then you have something called directors reports. You have the Park and Rec Commissioners reports. And I think we're focusing your question, Commissioner Pelayo, on that section that reads Park and Recreation Commissioners reports. Is that it?
Yes, that, and then
Yes.
an area, for example, of non-agenda items where commissioners may make comments on city-related or Parks and Rec-related issues.
So you guys get treated differently than the public gets treated. So public can come in here and talk about anything they want that's not on the agenda, as long as it's tied to something, some connection to the Park and Rec Commission. I can come in here and talk about anything I really want. You as commissioners can't. You as commissioners can only talk about the items that are on the agenda. And so that's why when people come up to to speak to you on non-agenda items, all you can do is listen. Maybe you can make a few brief comments. Maybe you can give direction to Tina. Hey, person so-and-so had an interesting comment. Do you think we could get a report on that in the future? And the Brown Act says you can have a very limited discussion there. But if I go in and I start talking about the Cesar Chavez renaming issue, and it's not on the agenda, the fact that I raised it doesn't open up the door for you to talk about it. You're not allowed to. Brown Act says expressly no to that because it's not an agenda item. So you can't talk about it. So you say, well, Raul, is there any other time that I could talk about it? Do I have the ability under the non-agenda items to talk about it? The answer is no, because you're a commissioner. You're bound and limited by what you can discuss as a commissioner in front of the 4 of you here, other 4 of you here on that issue. So the only other time when you might be able to talk about something on this is in the section dealing with Park and Recreation Commissioners Report. That section, again, is not a free all, open the door, let's talk about anything I want to talk about. It's got to be, the concept behind that lies with Assembly Bill 1234. It's an Assembly Bill that makes a number of important points. It requires all 5 of you to go through ethical training. You have to complete that on a regular basis. We refer to that as AB 1234 training. But there's also a section of that statute that allows you to say, I went to community event X. I attended meeting Y. You'll hear the city council members say that they went to the vector control meeting or they went to the Hub Cities meeting. That's because they get appointed as the representative for the city to sit on the board of those organizations. And the policy is to encourage bringing back that information to the council so the other colleagues know what it is that one council member said and did and what was discussed in that meeting. There is a benefit to sharing that. But the Brown Act doesn't then allow that section of the meeting or this section of the meeting for you to have a free-for-all and to express your opinions on anything. That would be a violation of the Brown Act. It's not intended for that purpose. I would encourage, and that's not a sign of a high-performing council or a high-performing commission. All right. Anything else?
So just to follow up on that,
Yeah.
if I attend a community event, for example, I have a conversation with some sort of partner organization, resident, is that conversation then something that can be discussed at the commission as a report back to the commission itself, but then also to make it a public in terms of what was discussed, what were some of the concerns that were raised, or opinions on other matters?
If you attended an event of an organization, you can talk about what transpired in the meeting of that organization. You can talk about that. If during the course of that, you heard a perspective that was voiced that you think your colleagues would be interested in hearing about, that would be the opportunity, Commissioner Pelayo, for you to bring that up. If you say, hey, I had a conversation with my neighbor and they've raised concerns about X, Y, Z, That's not the appropriate time to bring that up. It's really intended to be limited to attending these, reporting out on these meetings that you attended or these official functions that you attended.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. We appreciate
Hey,
it.
this was great. Thank you very much. I appreciate the work that you guys do for the city.
We're going to open that up right now. Give me a second.
All right, great. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll go ahead and open up the public comment from the chambers.
You had me scared there, Chairman. Okay, so, Mr. Salinas, I got a bunch of questions I want to throw at you, so please, keep up with me. All right, for whom is the Brown Act intended for? Is it for the council members and the commissioners, or does it apply to the department heads as well? The reason why I ask is, suppose the public comment is closed and I want to direct a question to the city manager or you or one of the directors, and it's what I call a clarifying question. You've seen Councilmember Hurtado multiple times ask questions at you and to clarify on a piece of city business to help enlighten a council member who may not know about that piece of city business. It doesn't benefit me or the residents to have a council member or commissioner make decisions on city matters and they don't know a piece of information that I might have, but they don't have it. So for whom it is the Brown Act apply to? Is it also the city manager and the department heads, or is it just the council members? Regarding the item reports, when something is listed in an item report and I'm doing public comment and I bring it up to the council members, can they speak on that? Or can, more specific, can a department head speak on something that isn't necessarily on the agenda, but it's in the item report? Because I've always thought that the item report is the agenda. You can't have the agenda without the item report. The two go hand in hand. So I'll give you an example. Earlier this year, I was asking about, during the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting, about events put on by the park, and I wanted dollars for how much the events were. And Ms. De La Rosa said, "Oh, it's not on the agenda." Well, if it's in the item report, what is preventing her from being able to speak on giving numbers to that? Also, regarding cameras, one of the things I want to do with Zoom when we have when it's up and running is to have our cameras turned on so that the council members can see me from home. And I want to know, if a resident is doing something inappropriate, who has the authority to say, okay, that's it, let's boot them out? Is it you? Is it the city clerk? Because I don't have a problem with either one of you making the determination, okay, this person is doing something inappropriate, let's boot them out or cut off their camera or mute them. So I would like for us to have cameras, the residents to be able to make use of their cameras. And then, hold on a second, what was it? Commissioner? Oh, can a commissioner participate remotely from Zoom? Are there restrictions and limitations to how a commissioner can participate now that we're going to be bringing back Zoom? Can they call in or make use of Zoom? The thing I'll end with is, if we're going to start removing commissioners and start putting restrictions on residents and the language that they use during public comment, well, then you're killing your democracy. You no longer have a democracy. You just flushed it down the toilet.
Thank you. Do we have any other public comment from chambers? Any online public comments?
No comments.
Okay. Are there any more questions from the commission? Comments? Okay, if not, we'll go. Can I get a motion to receive and file?
Make the motion.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Item number 2, annual partner organization report. Tina?
Let me flip that. Okay, good evening once again. So during this time of the year, we bring up the annual reports for the partner organizations. I know that there was a request to have the organizations present here tonight, so in case there were any questions that were being asked, I know some of them are here. We had one, JA was here and came over and let me know that they had a family emergency and could not stay. And so they did request that if there are questions, if we can go ahead, you can email them to me, or we can email them to them directly so that we can get the responses that you are requesting. But I know we have a few of our partner organizations here tonight. So would you like me to call them up individually so you guys can
Let's go. Yeah.
forward? Okay.
AYSO, I guess.
So we have, well, Jay's not here, so AYSO. And if you'd like to come up, can you come forward? And just so you're aware, I know that there was some question as to why is there such a difference between all of the different reports that have come through. Back in the days before I started here, there was a lot of information that was required from all the partner organizations. Back in 2020 with our city manager at the time, Chris Jeffers, he determined that it was no longer necessary to receive financial statements and a lot of information that was requested previously, and that it was our job as a city to just make sure that they're operating in the capacity they're supposed to be operating in, and that we should be receiving their accomplishments for the year, that we should be receiving their goals for the next year, and that the other thing that we could make sure of is making sure that they have at least 75% of their participants in the program are residents versus non-residents. So some of the stuff that you see here, it's not a requirement, but some people will just put in additional information. So that's why you see a big discrepancy of all of them being just so different.
Okay. Right. Do you have anything to comment on before we ask any questions?
Hi, my name is Maria Cortez. I had submitted our annual summary report. Is that what I need to go over? I mean, this is the first time
No.
I've been asked to.
Just if you have anything to add.
I don't have anything
Okay.
to add. I mean, our program is running smooth. I'm just hoping that, we always, we do have our spring season, with the budget cuts. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, but thankfully, thanks to everything, we're moving forward with our fall season right now. So we're excited for that. My goal is to raise up our numbers to over 1,000 per season. For fall and spring, we're up to almost over 600 kids.
Good.
So we're getting there, and that's it. I mean, I'm just excited to move forward. Mhm.
Okay, thank you. Any comments from the commissions?
Yeah, hi Maria, good to see you here. Just a few questions. Just in general, I know that here it says or breaks down the spring 2025 core cost and extra cost. Can you explain the difference between those?
So the core cost is our regular.
Hold on, let me, so technically, all that type of information, I know they included it in the report, but that's not information that we're supposed to be asking or following through with it. I know that they put it in the report, and I can't stop them from putting it in there, but we can't be discussing it. That's one of the things that, again, that Chris Jeffers, the former city manager, made known, and it was passed on, that information was passed on to me, letting me know that we can't discuss that. It can only be the goals, their accomplishments, and making sure that they're operating solely as the way they're supposed to. I mean, if AYSO soccer, if they start doing, selling handbags or start doing something different, we gotta make sure, no, that's not the intent. So we're making sure that they're following through with teaching soccer.
So everything that's on here, basically, we can't discuss?
As it can only be, the discussion can only be related to their goals, their accomplishments, and things of that nature.
Okay, so what's the number of players that that you're servicing per season? I know that it says here for spring 2025, player number supported 206. Is that the number of youth that registered for that season?
Just for 2025, yes.
Okay,
But for fall, we had different numbers, which was 450,
450. So in total, you're looking at about
over 600.
over 600, and your goal is to hit 1,000, right?
Well, for one season. So our fall season, I want it to be 1,000, and then our spring season, say over 1,000.
Okay.
So that would be great, but we're working towards that.
And why is the goal 1,000? Like, what's the reason you're hitting that number?
The reason, because I've been with AYSO I want to say over 15 years, 20 years, when previous commissioners were there. My daughter was, she started in U12. And I used to see the park full all the time. And the previous commissioner had over 1,200 kids. And it was really nice and satisfying to see tournaments, the kids playing, just seeing the park full, and parents always having their barbecues and, staying there for long hours. I mean, as it is, we're already there from 7:30 to like 6 p.m. And it's very, I mean, we're a 100% volunteer-based program, and we totally love it.
Sure. And obviously, I think that the more participants you have in the league, the better for the league, better budget, and then that allows you to, I guess, have, I don't know, lighting or whatever else, or provide
Well,
maybe
that's
some
what we're fighting
scholarships for
on the
people.
lighting.
Or, I mean, at the end of the day, that's the goal, right? The better, it's sustainability is really the key here, right? You want to make sure that you're working towards that. So,
Yeah.
also, I wanted to discuss the growth opportunities that you provided here. I think that's great. You were probably the only partner organization that included that in their report. And I think that I like what I see here. I hope that that's something that increases your attendance and participation into these. And what I'd like to suggest for you is also during the Citizens Advisory Committee, there's a CDBG grant that is given out to different organizations and just different areas. And I would recommend you attend those commission meetings so that you can advocate for stuff that you may need for your organization. I mean, that's all money that can be used, and there's a pretty broad list of things that can be used for. So that would definitely be a suggestion that I have for you to participate those and advocate for AYSO so that can help you with any needs that arise for your organization.
I'll make a note of that. Thank you very much.
All right, can we move on to another commissioner? Anybody else?
Yeah.
Anybody else
I
have
had a
any
question.
questions?
I just wanted to make it known that I am a volunteer of AYSOs, and I've been supporting Maria since we started right after COVID. Just at one clarifying point, in your opinion, right, is your expansion, it's within the bounds of your current park, right, in your current area space that you already take up, right? You would only be expanding hours, not space.
Correct. So currently we begin at 9 o'clock. A thought is maybe beginning 8 o'clock. That makes a difference. Now, like right now, we've been looking into how to manage the fields where we can put where we can add another field, or but within that Holidale Park space. Yes, but it'll be just there,
right,
at Holidale.
And then just to kind of tack on to Mr. Pelayo here, CBDG funding is a thing that is someone can request, but I would kind of caution in that there is strict requirements to requesting those funds. So one example is that you need to provide proof that you're serving a low-income community and low-income candidate, right? But the nuance there is that you need to provide reporting of their financial state, right? And so while it is something that seems easy to go and request, maintaining that funding is really hard because you need to find someone who can provide all that reporting and give then all that reporting to the state, not the city, or maybe through the city, the state. But they then decide whether you meet the requirements or no. So while, yeah, it seems like there's money up for grabs, I would just advise all our partner to really research what are the requirements for it, and are you willing to take on that responsibility, because the government does not play with their money and they will claw it back if they find that you're not in compliance. But definitely an opportunity, I agree, to pursue.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You really brought up something I wanted to bring up too, and I'm glad that you clarified the CDBG funding, because that is an issue as somebody who's been at the Citizens Advisory Commission, that it is hard to really get those funds and use them and not lose them, like you said. But I think I also was unclear about just like my colleague here said about how you're planning on growing the program, considering just the cuts that have been made. I guess with seasons have been cut as well for AYSO, right?
That was the initial intent, was cutting them. I know with the last council thing, we ended up keeping the parks open to November the 20th, so they'll actually be able to have their fall season.
As
They
planned.
won't, as planned up to the November 20th date. They just wouldn't have their additional like all-stars or
Or
travel
spring
teams
season.
or whatever it is, the travel part of it, the winter part. So it would end on that date and they wouldn't have anything past that.
Oh, okay.
But they will have their regular
Fall season, yes.
So you would be able to at least aim
Do
for the goal till then.
Something there, yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay, got it. Thank you. And yeah, I also appreciated the thoroughness in the report because it was really helpful to see just and the comparison from last year as well. Thank
Mhm.
you.
Thank you.
Anything from you, Cynthia? Okay. From me, thank you. I appreciate the report. It's pretty aggressive what you're trying to accomplish. You're trying to quadruple in one season and trying to double in the other season. So I see that's very aggressive and commendable. Of course,
Sí se puede.
So please keep up the hard work. If there's anything you need from us, most of us up here have experience in Parks and Rec. So if there's anything you need or any support you need, please reach out and we'll try to give you some ideas or recommendations. But it seems like you've been doing this for quite a while. You pretty much know what you're doing. So
Thank you.
but yeah, definitely. Like I said, quadrupling is pretty aggressive, and trying to find the space is probably going to be the biggest challenge. I mean, getting the players will probably be a little bit easier than trying to get the space.
The
So
space.
I really wish you well, and
Thank
I hope
you.
it goes well for you.
And we're definitely here to work with you and advocate for you as well. And I try to do that online whenever I see
know.
people asking. So I'm really happy that you guys, are growing.
Thank you very
Awesome.
much.
Thank you. I did have a question, or it's not a question. On Saturdays, the gate has been closed. Do you know who I call for the gate to be open early?
So I
Because they
can
do
answer
it,
that.
they open it at 1 in the afternoon.
Yeah, so the gates typically during the spring and summer seasons, the gates we don't open them until 1 o'clock because we have issues with pop-up car shows or pop-up events constantly happening. And we already had some happening a few weeks in a row. And so usually once we start getting the 1 or 2 in there, we close them down. And I had spoken to Street Soccer USA about it because now in the past, there was not really a big impact, but now that they're there, I wanted to make sure that they're aware of what's going on. And I had asked them, like, I had told them I can give you a key so you guys can open it and shut it just for your staff to come in if you need to open. And when I spoke to Luca, he said it was fine. It wasn't an issue for him. And right now they're having some issues getting some staff in the morning. So it actually made it easier for his staffing schedule that we opened up the gates at 1 o'clock. But we can't have all these rogue events taking place. It's a huge liability on the city when we have those.
Tina, I just have a question related to that. Since AYSO is a partner organization, would that be something? Because I mean, is it affecting all your parents or all your games?
Well, the thing is, they all have to go park on the other side, and by the time they get over here, they're running late to their games, and the referee will stop their game because you get the 5-minute grace period, and so the referee will say, "Oh, sorry, no more game for you."
And that's the parking
So-
lot that's on the south end, or
No,
On
that's
Monroe.
The
it's
Monroe?
The
The
Monroe
Monroe?
lot is further from their
Right.
area. So the Century side it's open. They can park on that side. But typically, like I said, we've already had a few car shows that have slipped through the cracks. And as soon as we started getting those, we've closed it off. And this is something that's been done, again, since before I was here, since I think Paul Adams was here. That's something that's been done. And every year, spring, summer, we shut it down.
Well,
And
like
so-
anything, they have to just make an adjustment. Then,
Yeah.
because,
Yeah,
we
that-
have to take the
Because,
good with the bad.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
would
the
be something
parking
that-
lot gets full, so now, just to let you know, residents are gonna be like, wait, there's no more parking up here. They're taking up the parking space, so.
Right.
There's no way to cut or maybe even just block out the dirt area or part of the parking so that it discourages meetings like that.
It's more than that.
It Yeah.
It's more than that. I mean, the car shows when they come in, they come in early, and man, it gets to a point where it's impossible for the police department to really
It
say,
is. And they, I
are these,
mean,
and they play a game. Let's be real. They play a game. We don't know who that guy is. We don't know who that guy is, but they all do. And it's very difficult. And then it makes it even more difficult for them to have their games because the park's overloaded with people.
and then you have the alcohol, you have just inappropriate behavior taking place, you have the jumpers and all the different things that are taking place there. And so there's no
Well-
insurances, there's
I
nothing
think, I
like
think
that.
we're just kind of off the topic now, so
Yeah,
let's
but I was
put
gonna
that for a
say-
future item if you want to talk about
Yes.
that, or call her directly
Oh,
and talk about it.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say the alcohol, the handball people have the alcohol, and that's never stopped anybody right there.
Thank you, though, very
But,
much.
okay, thank you, guys.
Do we have a representative from Aztec Youth Football?
They're not here.
Oh, okay. Is our next group a representative from the Aquatic Coalition? Anybody?
Yes. Want to come forward?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Hello. You representatives from the Aquatic Coalition? Yes.
Hello.
Hi. So we have your report. Thank you very much. Is there anything you want to comment on, highlight before we ask you any questions, or try to get
No, you can go with the question.
Okay. Anybody have any comments?
Yeah, I just have a couple of questions. I don't know if you guys can answer it or maybe staff, but what's the level of involvement that USA Swimming has with Southgate Aquatics Coalition?
Through USA Swimming.
So what type of involvement do they have? Are they just certifying you guys, or is it sort of like a membership that you guys pay into that? And
Once you get membership, just say if your child wanted to register, they have to register with USA first. USA Swimming, then they register with us.
okay, and that membership provides insurance, or does it provide I mean, what benefits do they get by being a member of USA Swimming?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, so what benefits do each member that signs up for USA Swimming? What are the benefits to signing up with them?
It's the insurance. Each swimmer is, once you register with USA Swimming, you're covered under the insurance. If anything happens to your child, they're covered under the insurance through USA Swimming.
Yeah, and on the staff level, is there any maybe financial support or anything that USA Swimming can provide? Because I know they have grants and they have other things that they provide for facilities and maybe also for teams. Is that something that we've explored?
I don't, I have Leslie here that she may be able to answer that, but this, because they're a partner group, so it's not like it's it's not a city team, it's a partner group. So I'm not sure how that would work because they're affiliated with the city, but they're not affiliated with the city, if that makes sense. So I'm not sure if we would be able to receive those benefits, but I don't know if can you expand on that, Leslie? Do you have any information on that?
Hi, everyone. Good evening. So USA Swimming, I believe, could provide financial support should they apply as their own entity. And then separate from that, different municipalities can also apply to certain grants. And we have explored that before in addition to other grant programs. So right now, for example, this year I applied to 3 grants. One we just got rejected for, unfortunately, because of the budget cuts. We couldn't staff it either way. But I'm still waiting to hear back from 2 grant programs to see if we're able to get that. But USA Swimming, like she says, she does do that, but it's also kind of a membership so that it's a club that they can belong to, and as long as they're part of that club, then they can participate in certain kind of meets. Like she said, they get the insurance covered, so it's a lot that USA Swimming provides.
Sure. And some of those grants that you've applied for, are any of those from USA Swimming, or was it something separate or different entities?
Actually 2 of them were through CPRS, and then one was through the LAD4 program.
Okay. And have we ever applied for a grant through USA Swimming?
We have in the past.
I believe it was last year that I did try to apply. We didn't qualify for it at the time. I can't recall right now why.
And then just one more question on USA Swimming. Just like swimmers can apply for USA Swimming, is there a membership that maybe the city or the pool can apply for through USA Swimming to make it a, let's say, USA certified swimming pool or anything like that?
To my knowledge, no, because it's a competitive swim membership. It's not really for the general public. However, we do basically have membership with the American Red Cross. So for example, our Learn to Swim program, our lifeguarding certification program, our first aid classes, that's all through the American Red Cross.
Yeah. And
So,
does USA
Commissioner,
Swimming?
we need to stick to the topic.
Oh, I
Just
still have a few
accomplishments,
questions, though.
Accomplishments and
Right. Well, no. So I have just one more question on this USA Swimming. So, for example, do they govern like competition rules? Is that their role in this? Like, so when you guys have track meets, for example, are they the ones that certify these results and kind of provide the guidelines by which the competition takes place?
Now, I'm not a land sport baby, full disclosure, but I am
Well, I
I'm
think he means,
comparing
I
them.
think he means swim meets.
No, I
Yeah,
know, but
the
like for
swim meets.
example, I'm think of like the NBA, NFL, USA Swimming is kind of like that for swimming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. I think that is it for now.
So commissioners, moving forward, we're just going to stick to topics of accomplishments and goals.
Well, that is
Okay.
part of the
It's not
topic, right?
accomplishments and goals. I'm sorry.
It's
You're
but it's
talking about,
it's part of the Aqua Coalition, right? It's in the report,
Yes.
and it's not financial, so we can definitely
again,
discuss it.
we're talking about goals and accomplishments. That's what this is supposed to be. Again, Cindy
Right,
explained,
but I mean,
Tina
I don't know.
explained that they added a lot of
I-
stuff to this report that
I understand that,
needed,
but it's
so
in the report, so
that's-
I think that we can definitely
again,
bring it up.
Tina explained in the beginning that they add a lot of stuff to the report that wasn't needed. So let's
And
stick
and
to
I,
the
I would
topics
still
of
say that
goals and
if we have
accomplishments.
questions, I mean, that's what you're
I
here, right?
understand what you're saying, but I'm asking you to stick to goals and accomplishments. That's what I'm asking you guys to do. Thank you.
That's all.
I have a quick question. I was actually my perspective here is I've seen. By the way, I think our partner organizations are pillar of our community, and I do think it's like our responsibility to help support you guys and champion you as much as we can. But I also see that a lot of our partner organizations are siloed, and I would like you guys to start seeing each other as a network. Just because I think there's a lot of learnings of your accomplishments and goals that can benefit each other. So just want to say that I hope that you guys can like share business information and stay interconnected. And then I would love to give you my business my card if because I would love to learn more about your program more on a one-on-one basis if that's okay. What I wanted to ask you is I was very impressed that you guys built a partnership with the park to have like the tot swims or this. Is that correct? Did I understand that? And it kind of ends up being a feeder program into, or at least an introduction into your swimming. Is that? And I'm sorry and I'm just curious of how that relationship got established because it seems like it's been very beneficial to the program.
Okay, so yeah, I can speak on that. So it's a very interesting world and it's a really hard world to build.
Right.
But everything is progressive when it comes to swimming. So for example, when it comes to joining a swim team, you already have to know how to swim, right? And there's certain requirements, especially because they swim in the deep end. So there's a safety requirement. So what we do is, we go everything from parent and child swim lessons all the way through, adult swim lessons. We have more advanced programs like the Gator Swim Academy, pre-comp, things like that. We basically prepare them so that from there they can graduate into competitive sports, whether that's high school, whether that's club, whether that's lifeguarding programs. And so our goal at the Patricia G. Mitchell Swim Stadium is to have them enroll in swim lessons, have them graduate through all the different levels, have them join in the pre-competitive level. And then from there, we hand them over to the swim team. Yeah.
And so then it seems like then that was established just by nature of being in the same vicinity and benefiting from the same community, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And just a curiosity, because I think that's amazing structure that benefits getting kids involved early on, right? I think, again, this is why I think our partner programs are pillars of our community. If we can get our kids into sports and athletics at a young age, before they discover, their freedom as teenagers, it benefits our community. We end up creating a community of one, athletes, and two, they're engaged in sports, and then they benefit all our programs: soccer, football, swimming, baseball. And I think it's a beautiful opportunity for our community to kind of get engaged and connect and have those individuals maybe try all sports. Yeah. So thank you. That's it.
Sorry, and I'll just add, what's great about that too is sometimes, if they do start off really early in our programs, at 5 years old, they're already competing on part of the swim team, which is so wild to think of 5-year-old competing, right? And then, I've talked about this before, but I think like why it's so easy for me to see that progression is because I actually joined Southgate Aqua Coalition when I was 8 years old. And then I was able to go through the program. So now some of my lifeguards, like they were in our parent and child classes. They went through all the different levels. They joined the swim team. They aged out of the swim team. Then they started working in lifeguarding. And now they're sometimes, teaching those swim lessons or coaching those programs. So it's kind of a beautiful system that we have there.
Amazing. Thank you. And congratulations. You guys have a great organization.
And then Commissioner Reese.
Yes, I also want to thank you for this program. And yeah, I'm so glad to have you here, Commissioner Trujillo, because it is really good to have this opportunity to have you guys here, and I'm really appreciating that because it is great to see you, and like he said, I would hope to be able to offer you guys our support, and I think this is an important space for us to learn more about the programs and be able to ask you guys questions so that we can continue to advocate for you all, because you guys are the heart of what makes our programs work. And a lot of this information is very insightful because it really does show us like the ins and outs. And I know we can't get into the finances, but I think it's really helpful, like I said, to advocate. And I'm lucky to have just started with my baby at the baby beluga class and see her passion grow for swimming. And so I think, I'm hopeful that we'll, work hard to pass the UUT and be able to keep these very important programs available for our future generations. And, thank you guys for all that you do. And, from the bottom of my heart.
Can I have you come back to the podium? Please.
Oh, and
We need
yeah,
somebody to represent you guys.
and it's also amazing just to see how many of your youth, to see the accomplishments, all the placements in a lot of the competition. I know that, some of your kids were here to speak at the council meetings, and I think just that kind of speaks of how well you, and it's been AYSO and the swim team that I've seen come to our the council meetings a lot and really advocate for your programs. And I think that speaks well of you guys as the folks who are running these programs and how much confidence you're giving our youth. And thank you for that as well.
Anything for you, Cynthia? Good. Okay. Thank you very much. I just want to make a comment. I see the enthusiasm in your faces, and I really appreciate that. That's what it's all about. That's what helps with the growth. That's what helps with the when people like yourselves are enthusiastic, it's contagious, right? And so you spread it on to the youth, and they want to stay with you guys, and they want to come back. They want to see you guys. But as the commissioner here said, branching out, because again, the athleticism that goes into swimming can be translated to almost any other sport. There's so many people that start off with swimming. It builds the body, it builds the soul, it builds the mind. So, please encourage the other your team members to try out other sports too and see how it builds them. Just a small example. My son, who was very young, was very scared when he was playing basketball. Very scared to drive the ball. He was always wanting to just shoot a jump shot. He played one season of football. It was over. He just drove the ball, got knocked to the floor because he saw when he played football, they could get knocked down on his butt and get back up and keep going, right? It didn't matter. So it really encourages kids. So thank you for your report. We appreciate it. Do we have any public comment?
Sorry, may I just add to that, to your
Sure.
point? Dryland is actually a really important component to their training. Unfortunately, we're not able to provide, even though we have an Olympic-sized swimming pool, we're not able to provide more water to them. So what they have done over the years is that they have included a dry land component. So in order to keep growing the team, what they do is they rotate like their groups in and out of the water. And in the past, we've also collaborated with the sports center so that they work out at the gym.
Beautiful.
I love this idea of the cross collaboration amongst the partner organizations. So we can reach out to them as well to see if we're able to do something. But I know that a lot of their participants, they also play soccer and then do other like high school sports as well.
And that's
you.
something that I know as a somebody who grew up playing soccer in high school during our off seasons. As part of condition, we would go in the swimming pool, or we would go on track and stuff like that. So it's it's definitely something that I think a lot of athletes are used to doing, and it's great that you're already kind of doing that cross training.
Thank you very much again.
Thank you.
So do we have any public comment from the chamber?
Yeah, commissioners, I don't know, direct this to the commissioners or the director herself. In these reports from these various organizations, why aren't there any numbers pertaining to how much the residents pay to participate, be it AYSO, the Aztec football program, the JAA? Why aren't there any numbers? Like, what are the fees? What is the dollar amount per program, per individual student or child? Like we're clueless here as to how much it costs to participate in any of this. So I would like to see some sort of cost analysis for these various programs that we have here going forward, and that really should be included in the item report. That's absurd. We have these organizations. We have no idea how much people are paying, what the cost is, and associated with these programs that the residents are paying into. So going forward, I think that should be a standard practice to include that information. All in with that.
Thank you. Any other public comment from the chamber? Okay. Do we have any online public comment or emails?
Yes, we have an email from Cynthia Anderson, who apologizes for missing the meeting due to a previously scheduled vacation. She notes that the organization's second vice president is attending in her place and is fully capable of representing the group. She also invites commissioners to contact her directly with any additional questions and thanks them for their understanding and support.
Okay.
So that was part of JA, and that's one who had one who was here had a family emergency and had to leave.
Understood. Any other comments? No other? Okay.
No.
We'll close public comments. Do we have a motion to receive and file?
This is Liz. I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Section 3, recreation third quarter review and upcoming events.
Okay, so today we have a couple people here to present. We have our our aquatic supervisor, Leslie, who's going to give the aquatic report, and then we have our recreation fitness coordinator, Franklin Arroyo, who's going to give the remaining report.
Hi, good evening again. So I think we already touched upon some of the stuff, right, that we do, but I think it's a common misconception a lot of times that the pool slows down in the winter. It actually doesn't. The recreational, as to say, all the buzz in the summer is about our recreational swim programs, our swim lessons. But when it comes to the winter, that's when the competitive programs really get to flourish, right? So just to give you an idea, we typically start in the month of March for our swim lessons and we end in November. That gives kids an opportunity to go through level 1 through, let's say, level 5 or 6. But from there, right, it's so hard for them to acquire these skills. But in the 3 months that we're typically not offering those programs, they tend to lose those things, right? So that's where the pre-competitive swim program came about, is to give those kids an opportunity who were almost there for the swim team to keep practicing those skills. And so, for example, again, the pre-comp program, it's the best feeder program that we have for the swim teams. They usually average about 10 to 20 new swimmers every winter because of the pre-comp program. In the winter, we also tend to have a lot of swim meets just because we're available to host them. In the summer, it's really, really hard to host swim meets. So we average about 2 swim meets per month when it comes to the winter months. And each meet tends to average about 500 swimmers and then their families. So it's really, really busy anytime we have a swim meet. Additionally, when it comes to our seniors and our adults, they are diehard year-round. So they are really, really into going to the pool year-round for fitness and for therapy. And so again, what doesn't stop in the winter is our aquatic fitness classes, our therapy classes. So we have senior size, we have Aqua Blast, which is a more intense version of aqua aerobics. Obviously, we offer aqua aerobics as well. And then we have Master Swim for adults who, let's say, if you were a competitive swimmer and now you aged out of USA Swimming and you have nowhere else to go, then Master Swim would be the program, like to come and basically get a coach-led workout. So we get a lot of people interested in those programs year round, which is why also our Splash memberships, they tend to be still very popular in the winter months. What else we have going on? Because of that, we are programming new fitness classes. So that is going to be launched next month in June. But it's just great again to like continue offering what people seem to like want, right? When it comes to our competitive swim programs, so we have our Southgate Aqua Coalition, that is our partnership program. But in addition to that, we have 2 swim teams that pay to use the pool. Linwood Marlin Swim Team is one of those. Unfortunately, they have not had a pool for years and years and years. And so they have been renting our pool. We also have Penguins Aquatic Club, which is a private swim team. They also use our pool. And again, I think what's really great about Southgate is that we really are a hub when it comes to competitive aquatics in Southeast Los Angeles. Just to give you an example, I used to coach for Linwood, but the Penguins coach used to be my coach. And then again, we just tend to share a lot of swimmers. And when it comes to the South Central Swim League, we have anywhere from, the South Bay coming to practice at our pool. We have Downey, which is like, there's always this buzz around Downey, but they come to compete at our pool. So it's really great to be able to offer that in the winter months. What else do we do? We also tend to do a lot of reflecting on the year that was and the year that is to come. And so with that, we tend to do a lot of staff development, a lot of staff training. We typically have a mentorship program. If we are looking to promote staff, then that's usually when we do the training to promote staff. We have 40 lifeguards and 10 recreational, they're part of our admin team. So it's a lot of staff to continuously train. When it comes to the American Red Cross, we are required to do 4 hours of training per month in addition to daily skill checks. And then again, staying on top of our fitness. So it is a lot involved when it comes to keeping lifeguards rescue ready. And what else? So I already talked about the building blocks, everything being progressive. We have, let's see. And then in March, that's when we typically relaunch our swim lesson program, or I should say our traditional swim lesson program right before, because again, we were listening to the community's needs. We did start what's called a swim clinic. So it's more about water competency at that point, learning how to like survive in the water. That we launched before our swim lesson program started. So that is a great feeder into even that program. And then in the swim lessons, that's when they learn more of the traditional strokes, right? So we did launch that in March. And we had about 500 participants. So we had 300 group lessons, swim lesson participants, and then we had 200 private and semi-private. And that typically keeps growing as the months get warmer. So.
Thank you. What was your position again? Sorry.
I'm so sorry. My name is Leslie Consuegra. I'm the aquatic supervisor for the Patricia G. Mitchell Swim Stadium.
Okay. Thank you very much. Commissioner Pelayo?
You have Franklin who's going to give the rest of the division reports.
Can we just, yeah.
Oh, you want to just,
Yeah, just real quick. So that, I mean, she's already there.
Yeah, thank you, Leslie, for that report. So just, you mentioned Linwood and Penguins, right? So is that the city of Linwood that comes and uses the pool? And so can you share some of the numbers with us? Like, what do we charge them to use the pool? And what does it cost typically to have the pool open for that segment of time? Is that something that?
So it's their version of a partner organization. So it's called the Linwood Marlin Swim Team, but it's a separate entity as well from the city of Linwood, even though I do believe they get financial assistance from the city of Linwood. We typically charge them, if my memory serves me right, $109 an hour. And then that's basically the rate that's approved by the commission.
And then is that also for the Penguins, or is that the same? Because you mentioned two, right?
Yeah, any private team that doesn't have like a contract with the city, like for example, Southgate Aqua Coalition, or even in the past LAUSD groups. Which I'm sorry, I did forget to mention that this year we also had Southeast High School practicing at our pool.
And the same rate for everyone, basically across the board.
I believe our LAUSD partners do have a different rate. But when it comes to private teams such as Linwood Marlins and Penguins Aquatics, yes, it's the same rate.
And so LAUSD, you said is there's a fee waiver in place for them for Southeast and Southgate High School?
For the high schools, yes.
All right, and then for the swim meets, what is the structure there in terms of? I know that Aqua Coalition hosts those swim meets, right? Is there an expense on their end that they have to cover, or is it something also that's a fee waiver?
So yes and no. So there are invitationals that Southgate Aqua Coalition does put on, and a lot of those are fee waiver sponsored. However, for example, the South Central Swim League, because that's considered more of a private league, they do pay for the space.
And would that also be the 109 per hour?
No, that's actually a little different structure. And again, it's all based on the commission rates that are
Okay.
approved.
Is that something that maybe we can get later so that we know what the structure is for all the different either leagues or the teams? I think that would be good to know. And so what's the objective like when it's being rented out or provided for some of these teams or other leagues, right? I know that the objective is not to make money, right? But it's kind of like a cost recovery. What's the goal when we're operating for these teams and leagues?
I mean, a lot of the kids that are part of the Aqua Coalition and they're competing in these tournaments or these competitions that are being held there. So a lot of times, well, all three of those organizations, when it comes to like South Central Swim League, you have all three of those organizations competing for this all at the same time for that. So yeah, I mean, ideally, I mean, we do want to have some sort of cost recovery, but it's also a service that we're providing to the community.
Sure. And is there for spectators of those meets, is there a cost for them to enter the pool? Is it just, I'm assuming it's mostly parents, but is there's no cost for them to enter the pool and spectate? Are there any concessions for any of them? Like, is there any of the teams do any sales or fundraisers for each of those meets?
Yeah, so actually, SGAC and JA do partner for that, and it's typically SGAC that does the concessions, and that is part of their fundraising.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Make a note.
And also, just to kind of give you an idea.
Yeah.
Oh,
Commissioner.
Yeah, I have a quick question. First off, did I catch that right that you said that the fees were reviewed by this commission in September? Or we review these fees or?
No,
No,
these
it's
are
not-
fees
it's
that
not
are
our
put on.
call, yeah.
I wasn't here, so I'm just
Yeah,
want
no,
clarifying.
These are fees that come through. There's like, I think you guys actually have, I'm trying to think if you guys saw them at the last meeting. I want to say there's the whole
We
fee
reviewed.
structured. I think you guys got the last meeting.
It was
That's
in the
one-
last meeting.
But
the
it's
one
just
before.
review
that
and
one I missed.
file.
Or it was
It
one of the
was
last
just-
couple meetings
Okay.
that we had them that there's all the schedules on there. So it tells all the different fees for the.
Yeah, it would have been on the
So,
paper. You got.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, because I was like, I thought I heard September. And then the partnership you have with Red Cross, is that specifically just for like safety training, or is it specific to the swimming and aquatics?
so it's for swim lessons, it's for first aid classes, and it's for lifeguarding.
Oh, okay. And is that like as first aid? Is that something that can be, because I know a lot of these partner organizations require first aid. Is that there's any restrictions? Like, is it specifically for the aquatics, or can it be like, say, opened up to all partners organizations to come get their first aid training, even if there's a fee or something of that nature, or is there restrictions with what you can do there?
With the American Red Cross, there's a gazillion different trainings that they provide, from babysitting to first aid to like
No,
aquatic safety.
But I think he's
things like
asking
that.
more, the city provides CPR and first aid classes to the
Mhm.
community. And so was it once a quarter? How often do you do it?
Yeah, I mean, we currently have an interest list because we do like
Yeah.
to meet our minimums to make it cost effective. But for example, yeah, we provide community classes for first aid. In addition to that, we do technically provide community classes for lifeguarding, even though what we really want is to be able to hire from those graduates.
Right.
When it comes to like the partner organizations, if they would like to get first aid certified, they can either join our classes or I'm more than happy to direct them to the Red Cross website where they
Right,
can
right.
see what are our classes available.
But I hear you then. That there's a limit of availability because you want to keep it effective, right? The training.
No, like if there was, for instance, if it was AYSO said we need to get all our coaches certified and they come in and they look at the brochure and it's like, oh, they're offering CPR and first aid training on this day, then they can try and register as as part of the community. They can register on their own for those classes.
Oh,
It's open to anybody in the community.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you.
So we have instructors as part of our aquatic staff that can certify people in first aid. And I would say if there are any organizations that want to put a group together, I know we have done it in the past. I would say maybe they just can talk to Tina and then we can see what we can do.
Commissioner Reese?
Yeah, that's good to know because it's always helpful. I haven't kept up with my CPR training, but there's been times when you really wish you knew what to do, and definitely keeping up with that gives you the confidence to help. But yeah, no, this was a really good report, and it's great to see just how used the swim stadium is, because it is really a jewel in Southeast LA. We're the only enclosed pool that's Olympic sized, that has heated water, and now that I've been using it, you really do see just how many of the elders in our community use it for that reason. But I did have a question about the heating element. How is the temperature set? Because I kind of feel it sometimes, but I hear the older folks be like, oh, it's not that warm today.
I would say the blanket statement is we try to keep it at 82 degrees year round. Obviously, when it's like warmer outside, it feels more refreshing.
yeah.
When it's colder outside, it feels a little bit like it's colder.
Yeah, for sure.
And then there are, of course, variances depending on what's happening, let's say on the public works side, but for the most part, 82 degrees year round.
Yeah, because right now they're fixing they're still fixing the ¿cómo se llama? The spa.
Which
So-
will be open hopefully tomorrow.
Yeah, that's good because
So-
I've been there when they're fixing it, and it's a little distracting with the smells and the noise, but it's good to see it getting fixed. And yeah, I mean it's really good to hear how awesome it is. And one thing I did have to ask about was just any affiliation with the Olympics. I know you guys mentioned before that you were attending meetings. Is that something that they're still anticipating using, or?
So we had a few meetings with a couple different countries, but we haven't heard back from anyone. So it seems as though they've gone elsewhere. I mean, they were looking everywhere from like Oceanside, Harupa, like by Eastvale out that way. They were going everywhere. So just whatever was going to work best for them. So
Got it.
it doesn't look like we're going to have something, but you never know. It may come in a late
We're close
person.
to SoFi.
Yeah.
That's true. And we're enclosed. I mean, like I said, that it's a treasure because, even though Bell Gardens has a new pool, I don't think theirs is covered. So ours can be open year round, and, God willing, we have the funding.
And I would
And we'll
say,
keep-
a byproduct is, for example, I think like Rose Bowl, a lot of the teams are seeking these other pools. Well, now their club teams are getting displaced because of that, and they are actually approaching us to see if we can host them.
Oh,
As of right now, it's kind of been like I don't know if we're going to be open to be able to host them, but
Yeah.
that is something that is also happening.
Cross my fingers. Thank you.
Commissioner Escobar? Anything? Thank you.
Sorry, and
So-
just to address Commissioner Pelayo's point about the swim meets, I think what's been so nice for me, because I've been here a very long time and I've seen like the different like ebbs and flows. We never used to have competitions at Southgate when I was little. We always had to go to like county pools or Rose Bowl aquatics and stuff like that. So it's been really great to be able to build that again in Southgate and have Southgate, like the name Southgate, right, be a juggernaut in the aquatics like competitive field.
So I just wanted to say thank you. I appreciate your report. Have you got any word on if the utility tax doesn't pass, what's going to happen? What can you let us know that you've been preparing for if it doesn't pass?
Regarding what specific?
Well, all these outside people that are coming in, are they going to be turned away now? I mean, is the pool going to be closed to everybody? I mean, is it, what's happening?
Once the November 20th comes, essentially the pool will be shut down. And I know, speaking with the city manager, he wanted to have it drained and sitting there because as long as we keep the water in it, there's not a whole lot of cost savings, or you're losing out a lot of cost savings, because as long as there's water in there, you have to keep the chemicals in it. You have to keep everything flowing and functioning.
So
So
if the utility tax doesn't pass, then we are going to lose out on all that
All that.
opportunities. All the people around us won't have anywhere to go either. So
Technically, the budget cuts are going to start pretty soon, only because, right, we have to wait till November for the UUT to see if it passes or not. Because it wasn't placed earlier on, like the budget cuts have to start now. So we're not going to be able to host the majority of the things that we host in the summer, because I am losing my second full timer. And then we had to cut a lot of our hourly staff. And so even if we're open, I can't host all these different programs without that. So a lot of like hours are being cut as of right now. We're still 7 days a week, but you'll see a decrease in the amount of hours that we have to offer in the summer, which typically we expand our hours in the summer. You're also going to see either a barely able to maintain what we're offering now in terms of programs, or a reduction in certain programs. And then again, those more competitive programs that we offer typically in the summer, like junior lifeguards, the Surf Academy for teens, a Gator Swim Academy, like we're not going to be able to have that this year as a result of the
in the
budget
fall
cuts.
as well, you're going to see there's not going to be any swim lessons at all in the fall.
Right.
And
Oh,
I've
okay.
mentioned this before, but I mean, I'm really sad to see my baby's swim teacher leave, Marco, who's been, you know, staff of the year, employee of the year. He's beloved by all the students. I've seen kids come in crying, and you know, it like he wins them over.
Mhm.
And you can really see him work and get the fear of water and turn it into love. And he's, you know, he's definitely one of the good ones that are seeing go, because of just, you know, the instability that we unfortunately have. And guess where he's going? I mean, I don't know if I could say it, but he's going to Downey, you know, and you know, they're getting our best because we were unable to have this on the June ballot. So, you know, it is what it is, but it is a shame. It is a shame because, you know, we did definitely have these staff that are gems, and it's sad to see them go.
Yeah, we're really blessed.
Okay.
A lot of our staff, they are students, so they work year round. But now if they're only going to have a job 6 months of the year, a lot of them are already having conversations with me about seeking employment elsewhere, which will also make it a really rough summer. And then, you know, for all the different things that we've talked about, if the pool does close for 6 months of the year, how do you build back, right? How do you host all these things the 6 months that we are open? So that'll be very challenging, but we will do our best.
Thank you again for your report. Okay, next report.
Good evening. My name is Franklin Arroyo. I am the fitness coordinator at the Sports Center. Really quickly, our membership rates have remained steady with a little over 4,150 total fitness memberships sold or renewed throughout the third quarter. Premier memberships stayed consistent with about 550. Daily admissions showed an overall increase by 7%, and fitness admissions rose 11% from the previous quarter. This increase is likely attributed to the conclusion of the JAA basketball season. And the Sports Center has, so I'm just going to be jumping around, sorry, because I'm covering all the other divisions. The Sports Center hosted its annual open house on January 10th. This year was the Sports Center's 50th year since its inauguration. The event was sponsored by California Fish Grill. Now moving on to youth sports. For winter attendance, it remained strong throughout the season, with most classes operating at near full capacity. Usually we see a decrease because, again, we're land-based, we're outside, and so the colder weather doesn't really create an conducive environment for families and their kids to come out and practice. For spring season, we opened up on March 9th. Programs reached full capacity within hours of registration. And again, that's likely attributed to the warmer climate. On March 14th, the Special Olympics hosted a coaches training at our facility where approximately over 100 coaches were trained and certified across multiple sports. Again, they were throughout all of Southgate Park. And then for glow in the dark, we had a glow in the dark pickleball on January 29th, where the event welcomed more than 90 participants. The Sports Center gymnasium was fully transformed into an immersive arena featuring glow-in-the-dark paint, nets, paddles, balls, and court markings, and a haze effect. And we also had lasers. And then the following 2 months, we had a glow-in-the-dark boot camp. We had over 60 participants participating inside the basketball gymnasium. And again, we had the glow-in-the-dark lights, the lasers, the court markings, and participants really loved coming to our themed boot camps. For special events for Easter Fest 2026, the team actively prepared an exciting community-centered event. Supplies such as eggs, bags, customized wristbands, and Easter baskets were secured, along with carnival games and decorations for our bunny photo area. The event was sold out, and participants left fulfilled and very happy. And I think it's unfortunate that next year we're not going to be having that event. For the Senior Center, the excursion program remained a highlight throughout the winter season, with all scheduled trips selling out. The continued success of these excursions reflects the strong interest in recreational and cultural opportunities among our senior participants. The teen program welcomed 3 new hires this quarter, each bringing creative and unique ideas that have supported program development. Attendance has continued to increase as the programs grows and are supported by updating our hours of operation. So the Teen Center is currently open from 4 to 7 p.m. with extended hours on Tuesdays to accommodate early dismissal. Over 25 teens enjoyed a fun Friday evening at the golf course. Participants had access to the driving range, the putting green, and holes 1 through 4. Again, the event featured glow-in-the-dark accessories, and as well as pizza and raffle prizes. Again, we tend to have a lot of our glow-in-the-dark events during the winter season because of the daylight savings. So that way we're able to accommodate, so the effects are a lot longer and we don't have to stay open as long. And again, the teens, because it gets dark around like 4 or 5, so it just makes things easier. I tend to move more towards our, for our summer season, we tend to do things more outside because we have nice weather and longer daylights. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Any comments, Commissioner Plow? Commissioner Trujillo?
I wanted to recognize, and because the detailed matter, I attended the Easter event.
Mhm.
I really appreciated how you guys aligned all the setup with the shade.
Mhm.
That was amazing, and it was a hot day, and I noticed. So I just really want to commend you guys for like taking that, because I know I went a few years back, and it was kind of like on the, I think 8th, 9th hole, and we were mostly on that side, and so the trees kind of aligned the other way where the sun hits you. So yeah, just that was my only comment. Great job, guys, on that.
Yeah. Thank you. I'll let the team know.
Commissioner Reese?
Yeah, no, everything looks great. You know, like I said, everything seems to always get better every year. Attendance keeps getting better every year. And you guys really do. I see you guys reflect on how to improve things every year. And I really appreciate that. And I see that, you know, through these events like the Easter Fest. Like I was impressed by that too. like especially the bouncy houses. Oh my God. I was stuck in, you know, the one for my baby pretty much the whole time. But it was really awesome to see just how everything was organized. You guys put the times on the bands, which really helped me out personally. But yeah, everything is just really, really thought out. And, you know, just seeing all the details that you do, especially with our seniors, having the teen center. I pass by it pretty often now, and I always see youth there. And I think that's amazing to have space for people who, you know, might not have that space at home to be able to come somewhere and you know, be with other people that, you know, that they can share time with and be safe at. So I think it's definitely a good program that I'm happy to have. And hopefully, like I said, we don't lose these programs for our youth and our seniors, especially. And so, yeah, I mean, I just feel the pressure seeing how great you guys do and really, you know, seeing how are we going to be able to keep this going. So definitely thank you for this information and all your hard work.
And the teen center again doubles as a cooling area because I know
Yeah.
air conditioning isn't it's a luxury that not a lot of people can afford.
Yeah, and you know, I attend the Tiny Twos class and it's nice. And even, you know, even that in that class, how they're able to pivot when it gets hot outside and the kids are getting a little wild, like being able to, you know, we have the space to play in the auditorium too. And I think that's awesome. And just the flexibility that all the staff have, I think is really great.
I
Thank
do have a, sorry, additional question back to the teen center. Can you elaborate a little bit on the services you guys provide for teens? And I think, if I'm not wrong, you guys help with homework or stuff like that. And how is that done without Wi-Fi for the teens?
So we currently have a mobile hotspot that the teens are able to use. It's limited to its capacity because, again, depending on how many people are on it, it limits how fast it's actually usable. It does make things a little bit challenging because, again, there isn't any hardwired Wi-Fi or router inside the building. So hopefully that's something that we can that will be addressed. But with these cuts, I don't know how that's gonna be
It's also
accomplished.
difficult because when we need it, when the sports center needs it for specific registration or certain dates, then the teens kind of get trumped by needs of the department. So you know, it's a shared.
It's one hotspot for everyone that's
Shared device,
being
yeah.
shuffled around. Oh my-
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Escobar.
So I just wanted to point out that last year the Easter Fest didn't have, there was a little hiccup with the soft area, and I want to give kudos to you guys because you actually did have a bunch of babies in there. So I want to thank you for that. It was just amazing to see, and like Liz said, it was just a great experience. You guys always hold it down very well. And also just pointing out for the opening day that we had for the JA, you guys also did an amazing job. It was really hot, but it turned out very well. You guys manage it very well. So thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. And just seeing all these events, you know, like the Easter Fest, when you said, you know, obviously we're not going to have that next year. So it's a shame. It's sad, but thank you for having all these events for the seniors all the way to the babies. So thank you very much.
We do have themed boot camps that you guys are more than welcome to come and attend. Just 2-3 weeks ago, we had our 80s themed boot camp. So everybody came dressed. We had over 60 participants. Like 95% of the participants actually came dressed in the theme. It's taken us a while, but the theme was a 80s prom night. So we hung lights across the basketball gym, and we had ribbons, and it looked like it was in 80s.
We even had a special celebrity guest, Ferris Bueller.
No way.
I have a photo. You can all
Pictures?
see it. I have a
Pictures?
photo. You
So,
can see it.
Thank
It's
you.
pretty
Appreciate
cool.
your report. I know it's going to be tough coming up. Again, hopefully the utility tax gets passed because there's a lot of events and everybody up here is very happy with the events that have been going on and we attend the events. And I know we can't all attend all of them, but as a commission, we attend all of them. And so, you know, it's going to be sad to see some of them go. And I hope, you know, with Tina's support, we can keep the most popular ones and do our best. But it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a lot of heartache. So,
Yeah.
I wish you guys well.
Thank you.
Okay, can I get I'll open up to public comment. Any online public comment?
No comments.
Okay, then can I get a motion to receive and file?
Make the motion.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Item number 4, grounds and facility maintenance, third quarter review.
Good evening, Commissioners. Over the past, during the third quarter, the grounds maintenance staff continued the routine pressure washing of all the various hardscape areas throughout our parks, facilities, even here at City Hall. They completed the annual ball field renovations on all diamonds at Southgate Park. We continue overseeding high-impact turf areas with summer blend of grass seed and improving irrigation throughout Southgate and other parks. Even today, over the past 2 weeks, we've had a couple of rather large irrigation breaks, and so we're having some challenges right now. A lot of work's going on with getting rid of the gophers at Southgate, Hollydale, and the West Side area parks, heavily impacted the rodents, and so we're working on getting them done. I got to really commend my staff. They've taken a lot of measures over the past few years to really eradicate gophers, especially where it was infested at Hollydale Regional Park. You go there now, if you had pictures from 5 years ago, you'd be blown away at the change. Really proud of the senior grounds maintenance worker there. Park facility maintenance staff have hosted a variety of events during the quarter, employee recognition lunch, Southgate at the Auditorium Women's Club, scholarship dinner, ongoing Red Blood Cross drives, as just to mention a few. Privacy walls were installed over at Hollydale Regional Park at the men's restroom. And detail maintenance work has been done on floors, walls, bright work. That's all the shiny stuff that's throughout your facilities, your doorknobs, your handles, and such. Windows were performed in all park buildings. Staff continue to do a third daily inspection of the outside restrooms, cleanings during that quarter. And our community service worker program is ongoing. We still take up to 15 persons per day. And I'm happy to entertain any questions.
Thank you. Commissioner Playo?
Yeah, just a question regarding the restrooms. I know that I think you had mentioned it was going to decrease the cleaning of the restrooms from 3 times to 1 time per day.
Correct.
Has that already happened, or is it
No.
still?
As a matter of fact, that's not going to happen. I think things have changed. Maybe Tina can comment on that.
At when their budget, we had the last budget presentation there, you had Councilwoman Avalos had requested that there was additional money funded to our department so that we can continue maintain the restrooms at least two times minimum a day. So
And is that what it's going to be going forward, 2 times, or is it still going to be the 3 times?
it'll be we can commit to doing the 2 times per day, and when needed,
Possibly,
possibly additional and doing the third, but not just depending on what's going on, or if there's other things going on where we have to pull staff or move staff around it, but we're going to do our best we're going to at least a 2
Okay.
minimum.
Thank you.
That's only limited until November, right?
What was that?
Is that commitment?
That they actually funded it the entire fiscal year. So from
okay.
July 1st all the way through from 2020, this July 1st all the way through June 30th of 2027.
Got it.
Commissioner Reese?
No, that was the only question I had regarding the restrooms as well. And I did see that you guys were spot watering recently, so I guess it makes sense that you mentioned that some of the spigots were.
Well, you have to test irrigation systems frequently.
Yeah.
You get a lot of sand, grit in the water. You probably notice it at home in your faucet. So you take your faucet off, the screen off your faucet. Well, imagine it gets stuck inside of an irrigation valve that has a port the size of, say, for instance, the end of a pen. And so calcium also builds up. And so you've got to service these valves. You've got to test them. Irrigation heads, there's a lot of impact throughout the park. A lot of vehicles, there's a lot of equipment, there's people, and vandalism. And so we have to inspect irrigation systems to make sure they're fully functioning properly, pointing in the right direction, all the sprinklers and such.
And some of it is gray water too, right? So
I beg your pardon?
Some of the water is gray water, or
Not at Southgate Park.
but at the Hollydale.
It's reclaimed water. So it's third tertiary. It's not necessarily gray water, but it's reclaimed water at Hollydale Regional Park, Circle Park, and Triangle Park.
Got it. And I did want to commend staff for, I do park at the Southgate Park, Hildred, no, not the Hildred side, Pinehurst lot near Goals. And
Lot 2.
I did see the potholes he mentioned. So I did report them through the app, but only half of them got covered. So
Yeah.
I guess I have to redo the rest. Because I mean, it is kind of a lot though. Like, I don't know if it would probably been easier to just redo that whole spot, but yeah, I don't know. It kind of looked like they ran out of asphalt, which sucks, but I mean, they're that bad.
So Tina and I, we do a weekly drive, and so I'm pointing out things, and she's pointing out things, and we're working through these things as we go along.
I appreciate the ones that were covered because I mean, yeah, it gets bumpy.
That's why we do our weekly drive arounds to all the different sites to make sure and try to see what's going on and what we need to work on, and where we're missing the mark. And
Oh, but I definitely recommend the app and appreciate that the staff get to it. I don't know if it matters when you report graffiti, if it's done through the park ticket or if it's done through the graffiti.
I always tell folks,
If it's
use
in
the
the
graffiti
park.
hotline. I know Public Works staff, they routinely check it, and it's very, as a matter of fact, that's what my staff is directed to do, is to call the graffiti hotline or send an email, and it's quickly handled.
Yeah.
even with the app though, because
Yeah, the app's away.
consistently, as I'm walking through from sometimes Sports Center goes Clubhouse, and there's graffiti on the ball diamonds, and immediately I'll just pull my phone out, take the photo, upload it onto the app, and they're out there quickly.
Yeah, everything gets taken care of quickly. I
Both
appreciate
would.
that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Commissioner Swell.
Is there a plan for the potholes in the parking lot? I know you said you're working on it, but so the ones that I had talked about were the ones that were by the golf course area, the entrance.
Yes.
But then we took a walk, and there was the one right next to it. It's
second
just
row, right?
next to the building. Yeah, it's bad. Like,
Yeah.
my whole, yeah, my ankle and the knee were. I mean, well, not my knee, but my ankle was in there. Just, it was. So, is there a plan, or is there like some like?
So we report it, we submit work orders and things for it, but it's not on our department to do. So we report it forward, and then they will address it.
Is that through like the city workers, or?
Yeah, through
Public Works, yes. But we report that there's some fiscal challenges, as you well know. And so maybe we can in the future, find some grant funding to handle these things.
Maybe sooner than later, before there's I'm just
It's
saying.
not their call.
I know.
I
It's
mean,
just.
that's
You're asking the wrong people.
I know.
times are
It's
tough.
just those. Yeah, they're very bad.
Yes,
But okay, just wanted to see if there was like some type of a plan moving forward. But thank you.
yes.
Thank you, Gillian.
You're welcome.
Do we have any public comment?
I still got a bunch of stuff I want to throw at you regarding park facilities. The thing I want to bring to your attention, Mr. Massey, is at Triangle Park, there's a drinking fountain, and the button, when you press it, it's a little trickle that comes out. If someone could take a look at that and fix that, I'd appreciate it. The thing also I want to hit on regarding Triangle Park lights, and the city. I watch Downey city council meetings, and they're going to spend $500,000 a year with these funds from Metro. I think it's Measure R funds, and it costs $9,000 for like one residential light. So I would like to see if it's possible to use Metro funds to put lights in Triangle Park, specifically that round area. If we could put maybe 3 on on the however you could configure it so that it's lit up, because that park should be lit up, and it's pretty much like a cave. It's in the dark. The other thing I wanted to hit on, Mr. Massey, one of the council commission meetings, you mentioned how you saved, I forget what was a particular type of flower that was the city's flower. And I wanted to suggest, is there any way you could plant them at Circle Park? Here it's on the grounds of City Hall, and somewhere around the auditorium at the Southgate Park. I want to commend you for doing that, for having saved those flowers, but I would love to see them on some of our parks and here on City Hall grounds. The other thing I wanted to hit on, last year, going back to the girls' clubhouse, and it doesn't have Wi-Fi. You know, we scored 1.1 million last year from CDBG funds to our Department of Parks and Recreation. The fucking director skipped out on us and didn't complete a single park project last year. $175,000 of that sum went towards this development on Long Beach Boulevard. And I would have liked for that 175,000 to remain with our Department of Parks and Recreation. You could have done and outfitted the girls' clubhouse with, this Wi-Fi setup, so that way they don't have to use depending on a hotspot. And what I would have liked for that 175,000 is to address. It should have stayed with our Department of Parks and Recreation to address minor fixes, little fixes like this, like the restroom door at Hollandale Regional Park for the men's restroom. You don't need to do an RFP for a big, park project. You could have little fixes that the, CDBG funds could be used for our Department of Parks and Recreation to address minor fixes rather than these big RFP projects. All in with that.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Any online public comments?
No online
Okay,
comments.
thank you. Can I get a motion to receive and file?
Make the motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, thank you. Motion passes. Item 5, proposed Parks and Recreation Committee meeting schedule for fiscal year 26-27. Okay.
So every year we kind of set the schedule for all the commission meetings that are going to take place. So before you, are all the typical things that we go over throughout the year. So instead of having everything all bundled up in one meeting, we kind of spread out the different topics throughout the year. But if there's anything else that you guys would like to have added on there for any of the months that we have meetings, you go ahead and make suggestions.
Will this kind of accelerate the request for items in future agendas?
Well, I mean, if you
No, no,
like,
no.
like for instance,
Just saying, if you see the things here, is there something you want to?
yeah, if there's something else, like for instance, I know this past year, typically every April is when we give the annual park safety report. But this past year, you guys requested one
Correct.
6 months, you wanted one in October as well.
Yeah.
So if that's something that you want to be done regularly, then that would be the time to say like, hey, can we get, or not October, it would be September. So it would either be September or November. If you want to add on like an additional one, that would be the time to add that on.
I think September would be good.
Yeah, like a biannual one is
So do
Semi-annual.
like the
semi-annual.
semi-annual.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't mean that you can't add agenda items like
Right.
monthly. This is just something that would be more on a
Regularly
basis.
scheduled, yeah.
Right.
Any other comments? Okay, can I get a motion to receive and file?
This is Liz. I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, director's report.
All right. So for us, there's a couple of things I want to go over. One, I guess I'll do the presentation first briefly, just to guys bring you up to speed with some of the park projects that we've been working on. So we can go ahead. So just as some of the projects, I'm not sure if all of you have had the opportunity to get out to some of the parks to see some of the projects that have been finished. So you can skip. So the Gardendale Tot Lot resurfacing project has been completed. Yes, there are a lot of leaves out there because it's fenced in, and so they haven't done the maintenance on it to blow all the things off. But aside from that, the project is completed. Glenn and I were out there just the other day, walked on it and checked things out, and we have a final walkthrough next week.
Next week.
Next week, we have a final walkthrough, and then we'll do a drop test just to make sure for the safety.
Well, excuse me, but the next week we walk with the company. Hopefully we get the fences down midweek,
Mhm.
just to help you out here. And then the week after we have the drop test, and there's no reason why we can't have the parking lot or the park open for a drop test. So
Yeah.
we're good.
So the park should be open to the public by next week sometime. it'll be opened up. So it's nice, got rid of the sand and nice soft surfacing out there for the kids. And then the next project we
And
have
it's
our,
always shaded.
It
It's
is.
great. It's the mom, Southgate mom secret.
yes,
It's always
super
nice
shaded.
and cool.
Not a secret no more. The next one is the Sports Center Gymnasium scoreboard. So we have two main scoreboards. The top picture is the main scoreboard for side A or court 1, and then there's one on the opposite side for court B. And then the smaller one that you see, there's one on each wall. So there's 4 of those smaller scoreboards. And there's 6 shot clocks that are up there. And I try to take pictures to highlight a little bit of all the features. So you'll see that when the clock goes to 0, just like the NBA, it lights up around the backboard, and it's a little fancy, you know. So we got all the bells and whistles, and just we're happy to have it up and running. I know initially for the JAA basketball season, we didn't have all the smaller ones connected, but everything is finalized and complete. So I think the last thing we're waiting for is they forgot to install or issue us the shot clock reset. So you'd have to do it manually. So that's a hot mess. So they're going to be sending those over so we can actually utilize the shot clocks to for the purpose. But yeah, just excited about that. And then Street Soccer USA at Hollydale Regional Park. The first photo is the court. If you walk up on it, on the left side, you'll see the court, and then right behind that, you'll see a blue like Connex box there. That's their little clubhouse area. And then the middle picture is that center area when you first walk in that divides the 2 fields. And then the right side is the other pitch that's available for the kids to use. And if need be, they can always take down those middle walls and make one big area to play soccer. Right now, there's 2 smaller sections. But that's the look of it, and it looks really nice. And then other projects that we have, swim stadium scoreboard, we're just waiting on the delivery of the equipment, which is supposed to come end of May, early June. So that project's supposed to be completed by the end of June. And then our LED lighting renovations for Southgate baseball diamonds. Right now, they're just gathering information from 2 companies that are going to be providing the specs that are needed for the RFP for that project. And then the shade structure for the ball diamonds is where there was a walkthrough that was conducted, I think it was last week, for the design of those shade structures. So we're still moving forward on that one. That one's going to take a little longer, but it will still take place. And then dealing with some of the wire theft that's going on at the park right now. So some of our fields are down, and we're trying to do what we can to accommodate the season, our baseball season that just started. So we're trying to work our way through that, and then irrigation that just went down just right before this meeting. So we're just trying to work through all those kinks. So that's the project report. And then on the other side, we did have a lot that took place since our last meeting. We had Miss Southgate pageant that took place. We had our Special Olympics basketball, as Franklin mentioned. Actually, he mentioned the coaches clinic. So that we actually had a basketball tournament that took place on the 18th of April. That was heavily attended. We also have our spa that we mentioned will be open tomorrow. So yay, it's exciting. It's finally up and running. And then we had some of the stuff I already mentioned, so I don't want to be redundant. Opening day, it took place along with our Aquatics Fitness Expo and the open house and Mariachi Festival all took place on that same day. So there was a lot going on at the park that day. And everything went well. This past weekend, we had our Spring Fit 5K, where we had over 1,200 runners registered. It was great events, and it was just awesome to see. Out of the 1,200 runners, about over 800 of them were all in the recreational wave. A lot of families out there, so it's nice to know that our families are really taking full advantage. I think there was only maybe about 300, 350 or so, somewhere on there for the competitive runners, which is still good for them. But it just shows us that our event is primarily a community event, family event. And then we did something new. One, we had a survey out there for the people to fill out. Now, we didn't get too many people to fill it out of the 1,200 runners. I think there was like maybe 50 that filled it out. We even offered raffles as incentives for them to fill it out. I mean, we're trying to do our part in doing it, but we can't beat the people to fill them out. But again, we are trying to incorporate surveys where we can. And then we also did something different where we had a QR code for them to register at the low price of $8 for next year. And we had 219 people who took advantage of that. So we already have over 200 runners for next year registered. So that was kind of cool, something different and new that we offered this year. And then we had, as Franklin mentioned, our 80s boot camp, super cool event. I came downstairs because I was excited for it. And as soon as I walk into the gym, to see all these adults, it's different when you have kids that have to come and dress in costume and they're excited about it. But when you had grown adults, and from their 20s to their like 50, 60 years old people there, full on dress with 80s gear, and like they were just having the best time of their life. And just seeing just the different changes. I know that one of the things that James was focused on over the last couple of years is trying to get the fitness to blend in or to merge with the recreation side of things. And before it was just like fitness was just like, just fitness. And he was like, we got to get it to tie in more with the rec side. And I think Franklin and his team have done an amazing job of doing that by offering so many different programs and classes. And I remember the very first one that they did, I think it was the disco one. And people came out, and I would say there was like a small group of people who came dressed because I think they were like unsure, like, wait, am I going to be like the loser dressed, or like I feel like the loser who's dressed up and nobody else is? But over the time that they've been doing this over and over, like everybody, like now if you're not dressed, you feel like the outcast. You feel like they're like, oh man, I should have came dressed. So it's really neat just to see the enthusiasm and excitement of the staff and then the people who are coming. Like it's really cool. And then also our teen center just doing amazing things, from putting on escape rooms for the kids to putting on full on laser tag in the girls clubhouse. If you saw the videos of the way it looked, it was like, wow, like you would have thought they went to some, laser tag arena to play some of these different things. So just the amount of time, energy, and effort that they're spending to put on good quality programs. And I think the addition of the new hourly staff for our teen center has been extremely helpful to Heaven, who's our teen coordinator. As far as, it's hard to do it by herself. And now that she has the additional staff, it's been awesome just to see the things that they're producing and just things that haven't been done here in Southgate for many, many years. And just kudos to them just for their passion that they have in putting these things together. And then we had the Dear Soul, the Alma Querida, the exhibit that took place at the museum. And if you go over there now, I visited there, and it looks really neat just seeing everything on the walls. And then there's also a couple other exhibits that the high schools have put on. So when you go in there, you'll see all the work from the students from certain high schools on the opposite end of the main gallery where things are at. So I'd encourage you, if you haven't stopped by there and just check out the work there. And then we have our Eco Garden event coming up on June 6th. We have the Zine Fiesta June 27th. And then a couple other things. We have this weekend, we have the Water Safety Bash at the pool on May 16th. We have the Spring Golf Tournament May 17th. And then we have upcoming is June 3rd is the summer kickoff event at the park. So excited for that. And then we also have spring dance recitals taking place next week. Memorial Day taking place next weekend, and then June 12th and June 19th we have some FIFA events taking place. One on June 12th it'll be Street Soccer USA will be hosting like a viewing party with some other things going out there for families. And then June 19th, SoFi will be offering their viewing party with events and different things, little tournaments for the kids and all that taking place. So excited just to have our city. And then we're also tying it in. I know we've been working with the mayor, with the chamber, and with both of the soccer organizations, along with AYSO, and bringing some FIFA World Cup stuff here. And they were developing like a passport, so to speak, where you can go around to different businesses, different restaurants, and like maybe, I don't know, whatever it is, Taco Tuesday, you get like, $1 tacos from this time to that time, or whatever it is, but they have different specials. And if you go around and get them stamped, and just things for the community, just to keep them involved, almost like some cities have like a taste of Southgate with all the different things. And we're talking about the World Cup. So just trying to get people out there and just, they're going to spend money, spend it in the city, and support our businesses, right? So just a lot of stuff going on and just exciting things. So that's kind of what's going on with us.
Thank you.
few things to add. You're going to see a lot more, kind of touching on what other commissioners were saying. You're going to see a lot more syringe cycling of irrigation as the summer months approach. That means there are places along Southern Avenue where unfortunately backflow devices have been stolen. So my staff have to go through there and manually irrigate by hand. So you're going to see water on during the day along Southern. You're going to see a lot of water on during the day at Southgate Park because we do what's called syringe cycling. We have very sandy soil in Southgate. The water just goes in the grass and the soil's like a sieve. Grass will dry up really fast when it gets hot. And then once it dries out, it's harder to get it to grow back. So same thing at Holidale Regional Park. That soil is right next, that park is right next to the riverbed. That's sugar sand there. So we have to double cycle water there to keep it green. And I just wanted to let you folks know. Plus, you know, given the fact that the irrigation system at Southgate Park was installed in the mid-1980s, we have made a few minor improvements here and there, but it can be challenging at times because things do break. So, thank you.
Any comments, Commissioner Palacio?
Yeah, just regarding the Spring Fit and the survey that you guys put out, well, what do you think was the challenge or the reason? First of all, how many people did you get that responded to that? Out of
49 to 50 out of 1,200.
out of the 1,200.
A little over 1,200 runners.
And what would you say maybe was, if anything, that you have that you spoke to? I mean, was it, you know, just people weren't really into it, or they were busy with something else, or?
I mean, there's a lot going on that day. So we have like the little vendors fair, there's all the jumpers and then activities and different things. So I'm not sure if they were just so busy with everything else that was going on during the thing that they just didn't want to take the time out. But we did offer, we had like 6 different raffles, prizes that you could win by filling out the survey. So but I don't know, I'm not sure exactly what it was. We had the QR codes, we announced it. I don't know what else we could have really done on our end.
What's the platform that you guys use for the registration? Is it Run Sign Up or RaceWire?
For this one? For this one, it was initially started through RaceWire, and then RaceWire, I don't know if they closed down or went out a bit, whatever. So it transitioned over to a different one, but it was very smooth transition. So there was no hiccups with that.
So there's some, just a suggestion, there's some registration platforms where you can add the survey there. So as people are registering, there's a series of questions that you can add and they can answer that are required to finalize the registration. So that can be another opportunity to get that information and be able to capture some of that feedback.
What was the survey?
What was the survey? Just about the
Event or-
itself. Yeah, about the
Okay.
event. Yeah, like how easy was the registration? What, just there's a bunch of different questions that the staff came up with.
And what was the benefit that you were going to get from that survey?
Just trying to get feedback from them. I mean, every year we try to make changes to all of our programs that we do. Like this year for the warm up, in the past for the warm up, it was always like in a small area. It never was really that great. Some of the people come out. This year we changed it around. We did the warm up on the large quad and had a speaker out there with music. We had our fitness instructor out there who was was doing the whole warm up, and then it was closer to the start line so that everybody can transition out. And so we, every year, like we're constantly changing things. So just trying to see like what the people want, what do they want more of, or what don't they want anymore. And so just trying to get their feedback so that we can.
Maybe you don't have the bandwidth to do it, but I mean, maybe just physically asking them the questions and writing them down.
Mhm.
You know?
I was there and I didn't know it was happening.
Really?
Well, because there is so much going on that
Yeah.
I don't know where I missed it. And like, I don't know if maybe that's the difficulty. I don't remember seeing a sign, but then again, I wasn't looking for one.
Yeah. I mean, we
And-
have them on the 3-tier, like the 12 things. So we
Yeah.
have the different things on there, like register for next year, do the survey, get this. And then we're announcing it to the DJ like over and over and over. announcing,
Yeah.
Like, don't forget to do your survey, enter into the raffle. But
But I did see the raffle and I was like, damn it, I missed it.
I mean, the raffle's it is a little different because everybody, you physically see bikes and all the stuff out there. So
it was
maybe we need to put the sign closer to the raffle where the raffle
Yeah.
things are, where all the toys are, because all the kids are like, what
What is that about? Yeah. Like I
So
think
maybe it's doing that. I don't know. Like I said, we're looking at whatever we can do to help.
But
build-
if anything, I think it definitely helps seeing, and because you guys did mention like, oh, this is a raffle for the people that did the survey, and I was like, damn it, like next year, like I can't miss it. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, I don't even know if I would take the prize personally, but it's always nice to win. And
It's just like myself. I mean, I rarely take a survey. I mean,
Yeah.
they're always offering at the end of this call or at the end of this, do a survey, bye, you know? So that's why I said, if we have the manpower, you know, just ask and then give them the ticket. Be like, hey, can I ask you a couple of questions?
Right.
Okay. I'll give you a
Maybe-
raffle ticket if you answer these questions, you know,
Right.
just my thought. I mean, if somebody's asking me a question, I'm more apt to just say, okay, ask me the question, I'll answer it. Right. But
Right.
to sit there and take a survey, I'm just like, okay, I'll pass.
yeah, but I still
Even if you do give me a prize.
How many
yeah.
questions are there?
I want to say there was like, there are, I mean, it wasn't even where you had to fill it out. It was like, mark the box.
Yeah.
So there was a simple survey. I want to say there was like 8 questions, maybe. I don't remember exactly, but maybe somewhere around like 8 questions that were just basic questions, like how, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how easy was what easy was it for you to register? Did you register via RaceFire or did you register via Civic Rec? Like just trying to get a feel for, you
Yeah.
know, and
Right. Just a thought then for the next
Mhm.
time. Any other comments?
Yeah, I didn't know where to bring this up, but whether I could do it here or in the parks, in the commissioners' reports. But I did email you information on supplemental environmental project fundings. And those are typically given by the state agencies whenever somebody violates laws and they're getting cited. And I mean, these are big sometimes they're lawsuits. And so as part of the settlements, they have all this money that they set aside to fund local community projects. And so being part of I'm part of the AB 617 Air Quality Management District community steering group and for Southeast LA. And in that group, we have representatives from the Air Resources Board, which is the state level agency that monitors pollution in the air. And so they wanted us to kind of spread the word that they really want more communities that are impacted by pollution to be applying for these things. I think, if I remember correctly, there's 2 times that you can apply for these projects, and they usually have to be addressing something that is related to kind of like the lawsuit, because the person who's paying the fine just gets to decide where their money goes to, what kind of projects. And some examples that I liked were like green barriers. So something similar to like, you know, and it made me think of like the urban orchard, how it's right next to a freeway and maybe having like a green barrier, like trees or plants between the freeway and the park, and maybe having that funding to maybe bring in big trees to kind of, you know, shade the park and also provide. Yeah.
It's off topic.
Well, I figured it's something related to
But it's not-
funding.
It's not
and-
on the report, so, I
But
mean, you can bring it up on a future agenda.
yeah.
We'll get to the future agenda right now?
Yeah, but it was more of information. I mean, I don't want to give the presentation on
Okay.
it, but just to let you know that there's also those sorts of funding for things that maybe are smaller projects that aren't maybe like on wish list items that we can put there to see if they're, you know, if we can apply for funding.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, and yeah, I mean, I'll speak to some of the things during the commissioner's reports that I've attended, but thank you.
Any other comments? Thank you. So we'll move on to commissioner reports. Commissioner Palayo? Commissioner Trillo?
Yeah, Tina, so I emailed about this, and I don't know the topic was going to bring, but I did go to Southgate Regional Park, and I too ran into the gate being closed. Is the card club issue a recent development? Just because, I mean, I was there last year during the same time, just because I'm part of YSL, and I don't remember the gate being closed. So yeah, is that a recent like issue coming up?
this is something that happens every year.
Yeah.
We typically will keep them closed until we get the first one, because once we get the first one, they will just be coming back over
so
and
they came
over and
early.
over. And so it just really just depends on the year. And so once it was funny because I had just at our department meeting, I just talked to the crew and I said, hey, isn't it about time to start closing the gate? And they said, I got a few more weeks. And then that weekend, boom, they showed up there. And again, like by the time they get in there and we try to contact PD, like they're like that we can't get them out. Like there's just too many, it's just too problematic. And so, and again, it's just such a huge liability. So but it's usually around April, May-ish time that it starts. And then every year we close it down for the summer.
Got it. I mean, it may not be an issue anymore, but so you mentioned that Street Soccer USA has access to open the gate. Can we?
I was trying to give them access to the gate in case he needs to come in, and they said no, we don't need
Oh,
the access.
okay.
We don't need the access, and it's right now. He had mentioned I don't have enough staffing to open up in the morning, so he said it just kind of works out for me that because then I can say, oh no, it's just easier. We won't open up till 1 o'clock and makes it easier that way.
Right.
So he's like, that works for me, and I said, okay, I just want to make sure because now that you're here, it's a little different. I didn't want to just shut you guys out and be like, too bad. So.
Right. And was there an opportunity to give make the same offer to AYSO, or is just there's a distinction since the other guys are?
It was
staff,
that was
paid staff.
the thing with Street Soccer USA was that was part of the agreement that we had with them.
Got it.
was that
Yeah.
they have access to certain things, and it's not that. And again, even with them, like I told them, I said I can give you the key to open the gate, but you have to close it back up because as soon as the gate gets opened up, who's going to be the one to control? Yeah, who's going to control the car show floor? Not even just car shows, because there's other events as well, but that's a big one that we get is car shows that show up there. And a lot of times we'll get on social media, you'll see the things like, sometimes we get it ahead of time, or when Steve was here, you get it ahead of time, like, and he'd tell him like, hey, even sometimes when it wasn't summer, like I already know that there's one in October that we already found the thing for, and it was a save the date for October. So we already know like that weekend, it's not summertime, but we already know it's going to be closed.
Yeah.
We're not opening the gate because we know what's coming in.
Got it.
So we'll see things on social media, or sometimes people send us stuff on social media telling us like, hey, people are supposed to have this event. And that's not always a car show, but there's random pop-up events where they're selling food and like the whole gamut and just liability for the city.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, and kind of like the same point that she echoed, because I ended up there because I see Street Soccer USA. I was like, and so I was in, and that was my main goal. And so I ended up parking on the other side.
Mhm.
But like I mentioned, there's no crosswalk. And actually I was with my son.
Mhm.
So I had to carry him across, and I had a few other individuals. And so, yeah, it just like I saw how packed that street is. So just a heads up, like, yeah, if AYSO's there is a big crowd showing up, so the community might start complaining.
And that's the difficult part is
the
how,
risk.
like, and we don't have the staffing or the funding to be able to put a staff there to monitor. And I know like some of the parks, I know like Downey, you go to Wilderness Park on the weekend and they charge you $5 to get in to park your car because they were having a lot of issues with the same type of stuff where they're unmanned parks. There's no staff there. We're like, Southgate Park, we have staff everywhere. So if somebody's coming in, we immediately stop it. And people have tried to do car shows there at Southgate Park. And we're like, whoa, but we're able to stop it immediately and like get on it. Like, nope, because there's so many people around. But there, we're unmanned. Like, it's too hard to man that.
Yeah. Okay. And yeah, that was it.
Commissioner Reese.
Yeah, no, I attended the Soccer USA opening at the end, and it was really great to see all the things, the goodies they were giving out. The museum exhibit is awesome. I don't know how she gets these artists to exhibit all their work because it's really amazing and so detailed and impressive. And I did attend a couple weeks ago one of the art workshops they had, and was putting little designs on, ¿cómo se dice? Tejiendo designs on pictures, crocheting, like kind of putting crochets on pictures. And it was really fun. Time goes by like that. But they had a really good crowd, and they were telling me that they came up with the idea of having these workshops to bring in more people to come see the show. And I thought that was really creative. And I mean, even in that level, thinking outside the box. So kudos to them and all the amazing work they're doing. The J opening was awesome. I was able to go there with my baby. We were able to high five all the teams and see the horses and their reactions. And we were able to go to the swim stadium open house, which is also awesome. and able to see, they have it set up so that people can have chairs and look at the instructors do their thing, and really see how it's done, and the great work that they do. So I thought that was pretty cool too. And yeah, and the Spring Fit 5K was pretty awesome too. I like that, from the previous years, you guys changed the routes, so it's not always the same. I think that's really cool, and it makes it so that it's not boring. You're not doing the same lap around the park, and yeah, I didn't run this time, but I definitely noticed the difference in the route too. I think the first year I was pretty aggressive in running and almost flipped the stroller. But no, look at this year. And, my baby's really excited. She said she's running next year when she turns 3. So she's going to get her own medal. So that's awesome. And I'm really happy to hear that it's happening for sure. But thank you.
Thank you. Just I didn't obviously I was at the Southgate JA's opening. It was great. We had over 800 kids and a bunch of parents and family there, and you guys did an amazing job by guiding everybody, and there was so many things to do there. And I heard the mariachi was also great. I wasn't able to attend, but I heard that was good too. That there was a lot of things going on that day, and so you guys handled it well. So thank you. I didn't do the run. I drove by and I saw, but it looked fun, so I have to do it. Hopefully next year. But other than that, thank you. I mean, it turned out very well. Opening day was great.
Thank you. Appreciate your report. Okay. Any requests for future agenda items?
Yeah, I've got one because it came up, but probably a report on the benefits of a Wi-Fi setup and maybe a cost. And I know there's budget constraints, and but it's better to do it now and have an idea of what that cost would be, and maybe there's funding down the line one way or another. Maybe find a donor or something. But just so we can get an idea of what's the scope of the issue. I mean, one thing I just thought, like you said, walking around with the surveys, if they had Wi-Fi, they just off a tablet, computer, their phones, saying, "Hey, give me your thoughts on the event." Click, 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 and that's a benefit that the Wi-Fi would give on the park premises. Yeah.
Oh, and I just wanted to just give you guys a shout out, but I think you guys are doing great with the surveys. I mean, I personally don't do surveys just because it's time consuming and my kids and blah blah blah. But I mean, 50 is not bad. I mean, you guys are doing great, for promoting the surveys. So kudos to you guys. But yeah, maybe a different route, but you guys are doing great. So
Any other?
I don't know if this is more relevant to the security part, but I kind of would like to know if there's any ambitions or plans for increasing security. I know that I think Mr. Mario Dominguez mentioned at the council meeting that there's cameras in certain parks, and I'm kind of curious to see if maybe that's something that we would consider in the future, how feasible that would be if it's dependent on the Wi-Fi situation. So maybe that could be something that could be briefly mentioned. Because I mean, I don't even know how helpful it would be with the wire theft situation, but I mean, only because I understand that the problem is also not the problem, but the issue is the police. How much police can even, or how soon they can even come to.
If it's Wi-Fi, it's limited wiring.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I have a few things. I'd like to discuss, maybe have a discussion around that AYSO situation, because eventually that's going to affect residents, the parents for sure, for the parking
Which-
situation.
about
Yeah,
the gate.
the parking situation. Maybe try to have a discussion to find a solution that works for the parents, because eventually I'm sure we'll have them here or at one point complaining. I'd also like to have a discussion around the requirements that were, or the ask on the partner organizations, mainly because of there's city assets that are being used. We want to make sure that there's transparency there. The residents know what's being used, how it's being used, And, I'd like to see some of those numbers just to kind of get an idea. So,
What numbers are you referring to specifically? Just so I
so,
can
so
make sure
just,
that we-
overall registrations, how many of those are Southgate
Yeah, that
residents,
part,
for
that
example?
part we're able to
Yeah.
to put on there.
So that, but also again, have the discussion around what we're asking of them. So there's a uniformity amongst all the partner organizations.
Right.
I'd like to have a discussion
Just
around
so
that.
you're aware, so when we have these reports, James is the liaison for all of our sports, all of our partners for on the sports side of things. And so he sends out an email to everybody and lets them know, and I seen one of the emails or some of the emails that come through or that have been sent out by him saying, just a reminder, all we need is for you to put down your goal, your accomplishments for this past year or the current year and your goals and objectives for next year. That's all that's needed. But if people go out and do all the extra stuff, like we don't stop them. We don't cut what they've submitted. We just submit it as is because that's what they've submitted. But the ask is the same for everyone, like I said, but
Yeah.
they
Well,
just
You can't
volun-
edit or censor their submission.
Yeah, I can't. That's what I'm saying. We can't
makes
censor it, but the
I don't
email
think he's
that goes
asking
out
that.
is
He's
the
just
same.
asking for a report.
So
for the
to
next
have a discussion around
open
what
agenda.
we can do in terms of, asking for those and requiring it so that we can let the public at large know exactly what's happening with that and how the assets are being used. Because the Southgate Aztec report says at the end that they included some attachments, but those attachments were not in the report that we received here. So either that was left out and was not provided, or I think at the end of the last page, I believe it was.
Mhm.
So
Just take a look at that, and if there's something there, email us.
so just to have a discussion around that so that we do know, so that if there are questions around that, the public can know, we can know. And if I'm an organization that's partnering with the city and I'm using and leveraging the city's assets in a way that is beneficial to the city, I want to let the residents know, like, hey, this is what we're doing with your assets and this is the benefit that we're getting out of it. So I want to have that kind of discussion and see if we can ask about that. But let me tell you which ones were the ones that
And just make sure
where-
that.
yeah, so let me
it's
just tell her
okay
which
for us
ones-
to know that. I mean, you mentioned
Yeah.
earlier that
which one were
certain
the ones
legalities
that
were not
that I'm talking about.
allowed.
So can I finish, Chair?
I'm just commenting. Sir.
Right, but can I
You're
finish?
looking for something else. Well, I'm letting you
So-
know something.
So again, the last page. So it says attached is the highlight report of 2025 state and federal status, board list, calendar, time commitment notice, uniform invoices, flag, tackle, cheer, 22 and 4 income graphs, 2025 registration analysis, and that's not included in here. So I'd like to know if they provided that and you guys just didn't provide it to us, or why it was left out of the report.
I'll follow up with Anna because all this stuff gets sent over to her. But again, if I had to guess right now, she's not here, so I can't ask her, but if I had to guess, it's because a lot of this stuff is not stuff that's required by us. So I'm not sure, but that would be my
Yeah.
guess. But I'd have to ask her. I don't want to.
Yeah. I mean, that would be great because if they volunteered it, I think it would be great for us to know and be able to discuss that.
Right. Thank you, everybody. So just for my comments, I know in the planning commission meeting, they made a suggestion to offer support for the utility tax from their commission, and I would like to do the same for our commission. I know without the support of this commission and that without the funding to the Parks and Recreation, we won't have this commission.
I'm not sure if we're able to do that. I
Half
don't.
is what it'll be. So if we can have some kind of
I don't think that's on the agenda
feedback
that we
on
can
what,
discuss.
if we can have some kind of feedback on what's going to be, what has already been cut and what is proposed to be cut after November, if the utility tax doesn't pass,
Mhm.
and what's being affected right now because it didn't get approved
I think what
in June.
I don't know if this is, but I would make that motion or second the motion,
So
but
you're saying as far as,
motion,
you're saying as far as you want to bring up for future agenda items, you want to know exactly what it is that's going to be cut after, if the UUT doesn't go through in November.
Yeah.
What specifics?
I
mean,
would
I can give you,
actually-
I can, I can
make
give you
sure
that,
us as a
those, that
commission offer our
information.
support for that utility tax, because, I mean, there's no commission if there's no,
We'll place that on the
nothing-
agenda so I
nothing
can
to-
give a report on
nothing to
specifically
speak
what's going to be cut. But just as a reminder that even if that report is given, just as a reminder that like as Leslie mentioned, so the funding for the pool and for
Right.
all the different things are there till November 20th of 2026. But just as a reminder that should she lose all her lifeguards, what has been advertised in the brochures that are going to come out
that's
and
what I'm
what's
saying.
being said,
What is the
it
potential?
may change. I'm just saying, so just because it's saying like, oh, like if she loses her lifeguards, then the pool hours may change. Even though we're fully funded from this time to this time, things may change, but I can definitely give you a report on those things. So we'll add that on the agenda.
I don't know if this is what you meant, but I think my suggestion would be to bring up an item, maybe as a follow-up to that discussion, to, as a commission, endorse the UUT because it's so detrimental for our programming and it supports our programming that even, during the previous conversation, our city attorney mentioned that our job here is to aid and promote recreational activities. And I think to be able to do that, we need the passage of the UUT. And so my suggestion would be to have that as an item of discussion and, hopefully we can all support and pass an endorsement to somehow include as part of the UUT. And maybe, after the discussion of, what the potential cuts are, figure out how we can word such an endorsement to, push the public to really, because there are clientele. And I know that, some of our partner organizations are already having those discussions with their staff, but I
So
think it would.
I'll follow up with the city attorney just to make sure that we're in line and we're within the scope of what we're supposed to be doing, because I don't
Yeah.
want to make sure that I know all the ins and outs of everything and make sure we're doing things properly. If that's what you want to do, I'll bring this to his attention so he can kind of guide me and let me know, because I
think
don't
that
have
was
all
the
knowledge on
problem at
that.
the planning commission, that I don't think, I wasn't there to participate in discussion, but I think the thing or the key was to, make note of how relevant and important it is for our program, our Parks and Rec. programming.
I'll definitely, we'll
It
put
it
that
makes
in-
sense what
we'll-
we're saying right now?
Yeah, no, it
Okay,
makes sense what
thank
you're
you.
saying. I understand you want to put that item on the agenda and then an additional topic to discuss how you can be supportive of it as a commission, but I'm going to get his input on it or his guidance on it to make sure that we're not overstepping something we're not supposed to do. So I just want to make sure, because I'm not sure on how that works. So I just want to get his guidance, and then when we come forward, I'll be able to share that with you.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank you.
thankfully we have time, so.
Yeah. So can I get a motion to adjourn?
Make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Phew.